Welcome back to Tabletop Titans. My name is Adrian, and this is Brian, and this is the Hobby Hangout. How you doing, Brian?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you, Adrian?
I'm so excited to be here. This is a very exciting day for a number of reasons. Normally, this is a members-only video, but today we've opened it up to the public because we want to show you guys what we're working on, give you a sense for what we do every week with the members. It's just a nice time to kind of hang out a bit more intimately, work on some projects, talk about what we're doing behind the scenes, and learn some skills from amazing painters like Brian and other people. Not me. No. I'm like the everyman. I don't consider myself like a great painter, but I can get by. So, you know, if I can learn some stuff from you, all the better. Today we're working on a project that is very near and dear to our hearts. This is the Grimdark farm build. We'll give a bit of context. Not the whole context, because that's a long story.
It's a long story, yeah.
But this upcoming weekend, we are going to be doing a project with a couple friends of ours. Tyler Russo, who you know as Billion Dollar Clown Farm, and Atesh, who you don't know at all, but you will soon. And we're going to be doing a Necromunda-ish Inquisitor 28 Realm of Chaos campaign.
Yeah. All of those things at the same time.
At the same time.
Yeah.
Set in a agricultural little planet far, far away from the center of the galaxy. It's going to be fun. It's going to be weird. It's going to be wacky. It's focused all around fun hobby projects, converting. We're going to be, of course, using the Realms of Chaos books to roll for our warbands, doing mutations as we're like fighting each other between. It's going to be wild and fun. It's all about narrative and hobbying. So today we are working on the setting for this campaign, which actually kicks off tomorrow.
We have so much to do.
We have a lot to do.
Oh my gosh.
Tyler and Atesh are heading over here at 7 a.m. They're in LA, so we'll be driving on up, and we'll be ready for them, hopefully, in the afternoon.
We will not be ready.
We got this. We got this.
Absolutely not.
This is going to be the most productive 2 hours, hey, we kind of match, that we've ever had in our life. So we're going to be painting this. I have this windmill. The mill part of the windmill is not quite attached yet. And then we have Stenson Manor here. These are two of the different settings in a couple of the scenarios. So we're going to be painting them. We're going to be weathering them. Of course, members voted on what kind of mini tutorial you guys want to do during this session. You voted on weathering, so we'll talk about rust, streaking grime, chipping,
whatever else,
all that good stuff. And it's going to be, kind of by the nature of the project, fast, easy, dirty ways to do it.
Yep.
Awesome. Hopefully everyone's doing well. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good to see all these fantastic names in chat. With that, let's get into it.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Oh, let's see.
These are huge.
Yeah, if you're all enjoying it, please like the videos. It really, really does help. And if you haven't already, subscribe. At least you can get notified when it comes out. Yeah, these are big. These are big and unwieldy, which is kind of like the name of the game. It's like, what's all the terrain that we could never use in like a regular Warhammer game, but like is fun and cool to do?
Yeah. It's really nice to have bespoke terrain when you're doing like a campaign also, because then it makes it feel more personal, right? As opposed to just like, yeah, here's my generic GW terrain.
Yeah.
Now it's
we're like fighting over the same old L's and roads.
Exactly.
It's like, no. We need to build a world here. So cool. Base coats first.
I think I'll probably start with the building, and then you can do the panels if you want to do that, or I guess however you want to do it. But.
No, that sounds good. Yeah, I'm going to start with just blocking up, some of these like metal corrugated plating in just like different, mostly silvers. I like to do that first before I try to do any like other more precise painting, because they're very easy to like blend in the edges with like black and rust and burn effects in a way that kind of feels natural. So we're gonna go ahead and do that with my everyone's favorite paint, Pro Acryl.
I love this paint. Oh, they had new sets at Adepticon.
Oh, did you try it?
I didn't know. So I knew that there was going to be two new sets.
Yeah.
The Flame On miniatures and then Savage Orca, or I think what's her name?
Louise Sudgeon.
Yeah.
Rogue Hobbies, I think, is the brand.
Oh, Rogue Hobbies. Yeah. Her Instagram is Savage Orca. Or not Savage Orca.
It is Savage Orca.
Yeah, Savage Orca. Yeah.
I know it sounds weird, but yeah, that's right.
So I knew those two sets were coming out, but then when I got there to pick them up, they had a third set specifically for Adepticon.
Oh yeah!
And I did not know that was going to be a thing. So
that's
I got
so cool.
Naturally, I bought all three of them.
Oh, that's awesome.
I haven't used the Flame On set. Is it Flamey On? It's Flame On, right? It's literally Flame On.
In my head, I read it as Flamey On.
I always like Flameo is for.
Yeah.
I always read it as Flameo. Yeah, exactly.
But it's probably Flame On.
Yeah. I haven't used his set yet, but I'm really excited. Oh, I've done that way too much. I'm really excited too.
That sounds amazing. Yeah, I'm very, very jealous. Of course, if you folks have questions about Adepticon, particularly the hobbying side, Brian was there. really, really fun, exciting weekend. There was a lot of exciting stuff going on. Of course, Golden Demon painting. We had a lot of exciting stuff. We have Melody in chat who actually played on War Games live stream with Joe on Friday after the first day of the champs, which was super fun to watch. So just a really cool time for the community, honestly.
Yeah, it was a super, super great time. So I knew that Adepticon was like a hobby-centric kind of convention. I didn't realize to the extent of what it was.
Oh my God, yeah.
Like you'd never know until you go, right, and experience it.
Right.
And I was blown away about the amount of stuff that was there.
A lot of airbrush noise.
Yeah, so the airbrush noise is very loud.
Only from mine, right?
Only yours?
Yeah. I will try to, I'm gonna try to be proactive with my muting.
Okay.
Could also just potentially turn the pressure down.
Yeah,
It might just be the pressure that is making it.
Can you turn down the pressure a little bit on the airbrush?
Yeah.
Member only chat. Ooh, you know what? Let me turn off the members only chat. 'Cause, I want everyone to be able to hang out today.
Yeah. Can you hear? Chat, can you guys hear this little mini compressor that's going on right now?
I think it's the literal like air.
The literal air.
But yeah, so the hobby side of Adepticon is massive.
Yes.
Everyone goes out to that.
Yeah. There was so many like big names. As far as like the painting community goes, there was so many heavy hitters there. It was crazy. And it's funny too because they all know each other. They're all from like across the globe.
Yeah.
And they're all just like hanging out because they're all friends with each other. It's crazy.
Right. All right, folks, I've turned off members only chat. Yeah, it's the spraying. All right, cool. Thanks, Melody. Appreciate it.
Okay. Nick M. I got a notable entry on my entry for Golden Demon. So I was really, really stoked about that. I didn't expect to get anything, if I'm going to be honest. And I was just hopeful to get anything. And then I got a notable entry, so that was really cool. Yeah, I definitely think it's definitely yours.
It's definitely, it
It's
does
not,
seem
is
extra
it
loud
getting
today.
picked up through my mic though? Probably not, right?
No, I
It's
don't
probably
think
just
so.
yours. Because if it's like double through mine and yours,
Yeah.
that'll be miserable.
It's mine, yeah. You turned it down, it's better. It's better. I think it's as low as we can go. But what I will do, I think, is I'm just going to mute whenever I'm using it.
The struggle.
I know, right? It's
Yeah, normally
classic.
this is not. Have we ever had an issue airbrushing before?
We try not to do too much airbrushing, kind of for that exact reason, but not to this extent. You know what it is also it's a big surface.
So it's hitting and then yeah.
It's like slapping against it. First layer of terrain going down this weekend. That's awesome.
Oh, this is gonna take.
So sad you guys weren't there with the terrain table. No worries. Or sorry, I mean,
No worries.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's not the right
I
response.
mean, for better
Adrian.
or worse, right? We've been sold out actually. We are literally just getting in the core box again for Titan's Terrain, which is going to be on sale very, very soon. Right now, we're just fulfilling some pre-orders, and then I will update on the site. So that's kind of why it's like, well, it's awkward having a booth where you're not selling anything. Right?
Yeah, which is like here's my Kickstarter or my like link to go pre-order online. It's just like, well, people want physical products, right? They want to walk up, buy the thing, and they want instant gratification. They don't want to wait.
Exactly.
Right?
So another reason we haven't actually even played on Titan's Terrain lately because it's like, hey, get excited for this thing. Guess what? You can't get it.
Yeah.
That sucks. But soon that'll change. Hashtag no worries. The Viking terrain, yes. Bye, Patty. Thanks for joining us. I do appreciate it. This is not a sponsored stream by ProAcryl, but I just love how the paint works so well, both like in airbrush and by hand.
Yeah.
It's like I've never encountered a paint that can be so opaque and yet flows perfectly. Like I never have any clogging issues or anything. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I love this paint.
It's amazing. All right. Silver, let's go.
The fact that you airbrush your metallics really stresses me out.
Why is that?
Because I don't know. I've always heard, for better or worse, that you shouldn't airbrush metallics because it makes it very because when it becomes like aerosolized, right?
Right.
It like scatters the pigment, and then you have like random glitter flakes, and it looks less like metallic and more like just glitter on stuff.
You have to be very diligent. You have to because it does do that, and so you need to do enough layering of it so that it kind of returns to full opacity, because it absolutely does. Ooh, I really like that. It absolutely does do that. So you just have to be very diligent. Until recently, I haven't been able to do a lot of it because I actually really like Vallejo's Game Air Silver, which is harder and harder to find right now, at least where we live. And I've been trying to move away from air paints per se. So this is the first time recently that I've actually been able to go back to airbrushing metals, which is nice. So
I'm always afraid too of getting it stuck in my airbrush.
yeah.
I mean, you know me. I'm very diligent when I clean my airbrush.
absolutely.
And I feel like metallics, whether or not it's true, I don't actually know. But in my head, for some reason, I have it that if I airbrush metallics, it'll never come out of my airbrush.
I think it's true for some, and I think also some metallics you especially need to be careful, right? Like today we have 3 filters around us. We have a fan, we have ventilation, but with some metals in particular, they literally have metal in there, and you don't want that.
Yeah, you don't want to breathe
You
that
will
in.
get cancer guaranteed. So you have to be very careful with what kind of metals you do, right? So that's also a thing as well. I'm also kind of okay with leaving some shadowy areas here. It's gonna get grungy. It's supposed to be dark and moody at the same time. So
Yeah, it's very atmospheric, right?
right.
You want a feel or the mood more than you want a perfect paint tub. Which is a really nice break from what I've been doing.
It's complete opposite, right?
Yeah.
We're just gonna paint these entire giant buildings in a couple hours.
Yeah.
Rather than spending 170 hours on one model.
I needed to spend more time on it too, which is crazy.
So wild. Those 30 hours, man.
It was, honestly though, it was. I'm not even joking.
Yeah.
I know that sounds ridiculous. I don't know.
Well, here's a question for you. Again, this is a hobby stream. So you went, you saw, you did well. You're excited to do more. What are some of the biggest lessons you're going to take forwards into your next project?
Okay, so I have been lucky enough to be able to have taken classes from Ben Comets, Andy Wardle, and then now at Adepticon I took a class from Francesco Farabi. And if you don't know who those 3 are, they are very prolific painters. Francesco, he's one of the main painters for Chimera paints, or the Chimera paint brand that is sold through, I think it's Pegasus Games, that sells that paint brand. Ben Comets, you've seen his work all across multiple hobby archetypes, right? So you have the GW stuff, you have Atomic Mass Games, all that stuff he paints. And then Andy Wardle, of course, you've seen his stuff as well. Both of those, Ben and Andy, have won multiple Slayer Swords. They've got 50 golden demons each. They're very prolific painters. They're top of the game right now. But I've taken classes from all of them. And after I got my piece back for Golden Demon, I went up to each one individually and I had to ask for feedback on my piece. Now, when you ask somebody for feedback, you always have to keep in mind that the feedback that they give is all based off of the way that they view painting, right? So it's all based off of their own style, based off of how they approach it, right? And even if they try to be a little more objective and less biased, it still is going to come from a place that they are comfortable with and that they know that they can do well, right? So with that said, when I spoke to Francesco, there were things that he didn't care for, that Andy really liked, and that Ben didn't care for, but Francesco liked, or whatever, vice versa. So you really have to know going in when you're asking for advice or feedback that listen to what they have to say, but then try to apply the thing that makes sense for you to apply.
Yeah, it has to match for your context.
Right, exactly. So, for example, the shoulder pad on Radikar is a really, really complex shape. So it's actually a really, really hard thing to paint in the non-metallic style, which of course I found out later after I was painting it. But the way I painted it, it looked a little more like bone than it did actual metallics, which Francesco, that was the thing that he didn't super care for. He was like, it's kind of confusing. Is it bone or is it metallic kind of thing?
Right.
And then Ben was like, it works kind of, but you need to have more contrast kind of thing. Right. And then Andy, he was like, oh, I love this. This looks great, because it fit more in his style where it's ultra smooth. It's not So mine and Andy's style are actually very similar. Obviously, he's much better than I am, but like he paints ultra smooth. I like to paint ultra smooth as well.
Exactly.
So that was one of the big things that Ben said because he is more into like the story or the feel of a piece. So if it's, so for example, Radikar, the model I painted was Radikar the Beast. So he's like an AOS fantasy model. So he's like a monster type thing, right? An undead vampire-esque werewolf thing.
Yeah.
So he should look gnarly, right? And so one of Ben's biggest things was like his skin looks too nice. It's too smooth.
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense for the character that you're trying to portray.
Right.
Whereas after I spoke to Ben, I went to Andy, and Andy was like, "I love how smooth it is." You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. Like, you get the different opinion. It's all based off of each other's style. So the biggest takeaway that all three of them said, I spoke to them all individually.
Yeah.
All three of them said the same thing at one point or another, and that I needed more contrast in my piece. That I can paint technically well, but that's not all there is to it, right? I needed to have more interesting things to look at and needed more contrast. So the thing that I'm taking away is that, and Francesco said it the best, he's like, you just have to be brave enough to make the mistake. Yeah. That way you know when you've gone too far. Right. And that's something that I'm really trying to like focus on now is to just push it to like that extreme highlight or that extreme shadow or whatever it is, and then if I've gone too far, I can walk it back. But if you don't go there, you'll never know that you've gone too far. Exactly. So that's one of the biggest things that I've taken away from Adepticon, I think, which again I'm super excited for to continue moving forward and to go into the next project.
It's just the beginning of that, right? This is your first competition piece ever?
Well, Vegas technically was, but not.
Right, but that was yeah.
Vegas was technically my first one.
Different context.
Yeah, not GW.
Yeah. What's up, Paul? I think that's great, and I think that's something like if folks are trying to get into that space and you want to improve as a painter. Go talk to them, to the people there. Like, enter in the competitions. You will get feedback. Go show your stuff to amazing painters and ask their feedback and their opinions because that's like the best way to learn with anything. It's like find the best people in the space and
let them crush your dreams.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, but
well, because I'm thinking about like when you're trying to get good at a game, it's the same thing. If you're gonna get good at Warhammer, go find the best players, lose to them 100 times, and you're gonna get way, way, way better than if you like beat your friends.
Yeah.
You know. 70% of the time.
Yeah, you always want to be surrounded by people that are better than you, and that applies to everything.
Right.
Surround yourself with people that are better than you that you can learn from. Not just people that are better than you and that kind of put you down all the time, because that's obviously not going to be helpful. But definitely surround yourself with the best.
It's got to be constructive.
Yeah, exactly.
Some questions in chat. Curse Cowboy. Adrian, how often do you spill out of the airbrush cup? LOL. Not many, actually. I never put the lid on. I saw there's a question in chat, lid or no lid. I don't like ever using the lid. I don't even know where it is.
I don't have, no.
Never.
I have lids for all my stuff, but it's mostly if I'm like not going to be using airbrush for all, I'll put the lid on to stop dust from getting in there.
Oh, yeah.
But
exactly.
Whatever.
It's just a pain. You're picking it up, putting it down. It's not going to change anything. It's not going to mess with the pressure.
Right.
No, what it did spill paint was, this is the one downside of the Pro Acryl bottles. Is
you are the worst for this.
And then you just like shake them and it's open and it goes. It happens to everyone. You know what do you want me to say?
Well, if you close it after you get the paint out, it'll never happen. If you're consistent about closing it after you get the paint out.
I'll have like 10 paints all open.
Yeah, I know. I found one when I was looking through it earlier that was sitting in there, you monster.
I'm not proud of it. It's just a fact. And then talking about airbrushing versus dry brushing. Why not dry brush this metallics? I'm just very comfortable with the airbrush. It's fast, it's easy. And I guess you're talking about the fact that like because I am kind of doing an airbrush-ish effect, you might as a dry brush-ish effect, you might as well at that point.
Yep.
I think you could, and that would be valid. I like using the airbrush. And there are parts I'm going to want to have more coverage than not. So like, for example, these walkways, I want to have full coverage. So it's just easier to kind of switch between that. So personal preference.
It also depends on like, I guess the size of the thing that you're painting as well.
Yeah.
Like if for these doors and stuff that are on here, these little pieces, I'll probably end up just dry brushing them.
Yeah.
So there's like little, where are we at? Oh, you can actually, yes, like this stuff here.
Yeah.
I'll probably just end up dry brushing just because I don't want to get the silver in the surrounding area.
Exactly.
But then for like the roof, obviously, it makes way more sense to airbrush that.
Yeah, and you're not gonna you're not in as much danger of like getting overspray. Right. You start with the areas where you can be the least accurate, and then you dial it in from there.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is another reason we're starting here. So, appreciate it. And Kenneth was saying, so our green and white terrain, the white is too bright, needs to be washed and dried. Yeah, I agree. So this was the that pre-built stuff that we got for the ruins.
What's up?
The 40K terrain, the green terrain,
Oh, yeah.
the ruins. Yeah, the white is like very pristine. But it looks so pretty. The main thing is like, you have like the walkways, and it's like floor, and then it's destroyed ruin, and like the inside of the ruin is like also pristine, even though it's like literally rubble. So, yeah. I would definitely clean that up. Asking about Zach and the AOS content. Oh yeah, so Zach is, I see people are saying now anyways, Zach is on his own channel, Hobby Collab. Definitely go check it out. It's really cool. You know, a bunch of friends of us are working on that. It's mostly a hobby content, though they're now transitioning to doing AOS content. So definitely check that out. As far as our AOS content, even at the time, we had no bandwidth to do it all. So we were like, Zach, if you want to make AOS content happen, you're in charge of it, you do it. So he was running that, and then when he went to do Hobby Collab, obviously we didn't suddenly have extra bandwidth to spare. However, there's a new edition coming out, we can finally say that. And we're very excited. So we will definitely be revisiting AOS with the new edition, with the Vanguard / Spearhead, I forget what the name is. We're very, very excited about that. So that'll be whenever that comes out. Yeah. Cool. All right, back to it. This bronze is cool. I've never actually used it. I'm so bad about.
Like I also haven't used the bronze. Funny enough.
Yeah.
I feel like I only ever do silver or gold.
So that's exactly what I was saying, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to use a different color. I'm such a creature of habit when it comes to hobbying.
Oh yeah.
And everything.
For me, it's not as bad, but like for metallics, it's definitely like that because I don't generally like golds all that much. So I have like one gold that I'll use for everything because I like the way it looks, and I'm not a huge fan of like Retributor armor, for example. I hate that color.
No!
Yeah, it's the worst.
Oh my god.
And I know Pro Crow has its equivalent, which is rich gold. Also hate that color.
Wow. It's the greatest color ever.
It's too much. Like
It is a lot.
it's too much. Metallics in general are just too much. I think
gotta
they need
wash
to be
them
like muted down. They need to not be in the way of whatever else is on the model.
Yeah, it does dominate the model, that is for sure. And I know Retributor armor, I say it's a gold, people say it's a gold. It's not really a gold, I know. That's Mel's main argument, which is not valid. I don't care what you call it, I just like the way it looks, okay? That's the problem. Melody is a bronze over gold person. Bronze is cool. I like copper a lot. Vallejo is brassy brass, which is actually more of a copper.
I hate that name.
Brassy brass. It's not brass! Anyways, I love that color. But definitely wash all the metals.
Yeah. You know, it doesn't even need to be washed like all over, but at least do some in like the shadows, right? Like add some shading in the shadows, because otherwise it's just like all like the maximum brightness everywhere is too much.
Yeah. No. You can't leave it like that.
But also, just don't use Retributor armor. It's the worst.
You're a monster. This one's almost too muted. Like, it's a nice base coat, but I'm gonna want to add some more on top.
Yeah, you could always highlight with something
Retributor
else.
armor, yeah.
No.
I'm gonna dry brush Retributor armor.
Ooh, actually, dark bronze. I have used the dark bronze.
Dark bronze?
I'm actually a huge fan.
It's like almost black.
I like this one a lot.
It's very interesting.
Yeah. But I'm a really big fan of like the really dark, desaturated, muted metallics.
Right.
Silver, gold. Not gold, silver.
Silver and gold.
I feel like I should add a different color to like the stucco of this, because it's a little too dark blue.
Yeah, I think you'll want something.
But what something are we feeling? I could go, so, now hear me out on this.
Okay.
Green is complementary to red,
Okay.
right? We're not doing Christmas colors because that would be absurd.
Yep.
But we could do like a reddish gray, which I think red-gray works really well for. But
I'll trust you.
I don't know if I trust me. That's
I'll
the
trust
problem.
you.
We're gonna try. I'll try it like on a hidden area and see how it goes.
Okay, cool. I was just wondering. I was like, do we have members chat on? Because it's only members talking right now. But I see Nox Minis. Thanks so much. I use Brassy Brass as well. This stuff is as thick as pudding. Yeah, it is.
Thick as pudding.
It's very thick.
Ooh. Okay. I have a question. I know what I do.
Okay.
But I have to ask because I know you're not supposed to. For metallics, What do you do to thin your metallics? Because something that is as thick as pudding,
Yeah.
you can't put on a model.
No, you can't. You can't. I will add just the teeniest, tiniest amount of water, but it really cannot be much. It really, really can't, because otherwise it just immediately just turns into glitter sparkles, right? Yeah, that's about it. It's a constant battle. What do you do?
I also use water, but I also put it on my wet palette, which again people hate, and you're not supposed to do that either because it like separates the pigment. But I've never had an issue, like just on my wet palette, because I'm not like painting with that particular color over the course of like 3 days. You know what I mean? It's like, here's a little bit of metallic that I'm going to use for this very specific thing, and then once it's done, I'm not going back to touch it again.
Yeah, exactly.
So like, if you were just going to leave it on the palette and try to use it over the course of a couple hobby sessions, then obviously don't do that. But outside of that, I've never had an issue with it.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know. I feel like it's not that big of a deal, but also people hate it. So who's to say?
What do you think, chat?
I think I just do it top down here, right?
Thinning down metal and using metal on
a wet palette.
Wet palette. Yeah, like a semi-zenithal.
Yeah.
I think that's nice. I actually like that. Sorry, I like that. Not actually.
Like, he was very surprised.
I'm not surprised.
You and I are both very surprised that it worked.
Look at this little building. It's so cute. Like, so quaint and grimdark at the same time. We're a Cottagecore channel now. I was very, very happy, though, when Lindsay mentioned a couple of the influences, without saying it.
Yeah, unprompted.
Right? With, like, Scythe and, like, Steven Saltenhag in particular. A big influence on this. Like, I just love the meshing of, like, mundane and, like, modern things with kind of, like, sci-fi, or in some cases, like, older things, right? So you get that juxtaposition. I just think it's super fun to play with. So, if you're not familiar with Steven... Simon? Wait, is it Simon? Simon. Simon Stalenhag, definitely go check him out. Really cool artist. Does a lot of like amazing, not concept art per se, they're very evocative. There is an RPG around his work now, but that's not how it began. Metallic medium from Willow. Melody says, wet palette my metals when brush painting. Matt is wet palette. Yeah, only an issue if you leave it for a while. Clayton says 3-to-1 metallic, long, me, and medium. Matthew Powell, a touch of water. Make a wet palette that's only around for a day or two. Okay.
Wait, rubbing alcohol?
99%.
Wait, hold up, pause.
Doesn't that like delete?
That breaks down paint. There's no way that rubbing alcohol works with thin paints. Absolutely.
Explain yourself, Kenneth.
I need more of an explanation here. Because I use alcohol to like clean my airbrush.
Right.
Because it breaks down the paint.
So curious. I love this green. This is the green I'm using for my guard as well.
Oh yeah.
It's just like a nice.
Reminds me a lot of like a Death Guard kind of.
Yeah, it is kind of like Death Guard. The Death Guard color is amazing.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of greens, but like, I enjoy looking at Death Guard. Look, it's hard to be a painter. I dislike so many colors. Like green, I'm not a fan of. Yellow, I absolutely detest.
I know.
Orange, I can't stand orange.
How can you be a painter?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
This is why you paint everything white and pink.
Basically.
Oh, speaking of which, I have questions about your pink. I can ask you later. I don't want to give away your secrets.
No, it's not a secret. I don't care.
I forget, what do you use for your, like, the glow? The pink glow magenta?
So everything is, like, base coated with, like, a pure white. So whatever brand of white that you want to use. And then it's Amsterdam's, it's an ink. It's called Reflex Rose. And that's, like, the first step, and it's a fluorescent pink. So that's what you would use for, like, the first initial layer. And then after that, if you wanted to go into like the highlighting and make it seem like it's actually glowing, you would add pastel yellow to that. And then that gives you like, and you just add like various amounts to it.
Oh, blending it.
To create like multiple levels of highlight, and then that gives you like this very peachy kind of color. And that's basically it. And then I'll go back in and I'll do shadows with a purple. And then that's the whole thing. It's very simple.
I love it. Okay, I need to get that. It's just so nice, like that really like neon magenta color. Oh,
The most important thing is to get a really, really solid base coat of white. Because if there's any kind of imperfection, like if there's any kind of like, so if you're putting white over black, right, and there's some black showing through the white,
Yeah.
as soon as you put the pink on, you're still going to see the black because it's a transparent, it's an ink, right, so it's very transparent. So having a very, very solid base coat is super important.
right. Okay.
But that's true of any kind of fluorescent color. They're all
Yeah,
very-
anytime you're trying to get that really, really glowy white, bright, sorry, color, that base layer matters.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, like, it feels like it. It's like, okay, does this like pre-shading layer, does this bottom layer matter? But it actually
It does so much.
It just shows up more with certain paints, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Because some paints are just naturally more transparent or translucent than others. Like reds, for example, are very, very translucent.
Yep.
So having a really solid base coat, even like I would use white underneath a red anyways, even if it wasn't going to be a fluorescent,
Oh, interesting.
just because it helps to boost the vibrancy,
Actually, yeah, that's true.
and it makes it easier to paint. Because
Right.
painting red over black is miserable.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. This is not for the old world. This is for, we're doing a Necromunda campaign this weekend. So this is a couple of our settings that we're doing. This is the old mill, and the old mill, and then this is Stenson Farm, Stenson Manor. Is he making a birdhouse? Yeah, it's a
I
birdhouse.
feel like I am making a bird.
It is very birdhouse-like.
Just need to put a hole in the front.
Oh, we should have a little birdhouse. So cute. What's up, Jack? How's it going? Adrian
this
did
is
that
good.
thing start its life as a traffic cone. Yeah, I know. No, this was, you can kind of see the foam here. This was I guess it's for plants?
It's can be for plants. I found a lot of people use like the styrofoam stuff when they're using displays or whatever, and they have like the sticks that they stick in, you know?
Right.
So like bakeries and stuff also use it for like cake pops or whatever. They'll like stick the sticks inside of styrofoam.
I like
So
that.
anything like that, right? Where you want to display some type of thing. I feel like.
Perfect. I did also at that store, I broke this thing, but I need to fix it. The little windmill. Look how tiny it is. So adorable.
Are you telling me I didn't need to prime the top of that thing, Adrian?
the top of the thing?
This styrofoam.
I know, all this was wasted effort.
Oh my
You
god.
didn't have to do that.
I added more primer, specifically for that top part.
I'm proud of you.
Thanks. I'm proud of
Brian
it.
hates priming
I
with
hate.
airbrush,
I hate airbrush
which is the
primer.
correct way to prime.
It's the worst. It's absolutely terrible.
Better. A nice thinner layer. Hello, Dennis. Welcome. Have we teased what gangs are happening? Okay, so here's how this is gonna work.
You want to? Oh yeah, we're just gonna jump right into it.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna tell them everything.
Okay.
Because it's a surprise. So we're using the Realm of Chaos books, which I have somewhere. Hold on. Please hold. Enjoy, Brian.
So, just a little bit of context before Adrian comes back. So the whole thing, it's not actually like gangs, right? We're using the Necromunda rules, but it's not actually a Necromunda themed thing.
Correct.
It's a Chaos Warband type thing.
Yes.
So we're not actually using the gangs from Necromunda.
Yeah, we're not using traditional gangs. It doesn't take place on Necromunda.
Right.
What we are using is the Realm of Chaos books. So this is Slaanesh and Khorne. This is Nurgle and Tzeentch. And basically, it's this like agricultural world, and each of us is gonna randomly be assigned a chaos god, and we're gonna be like basically an aspiring. It's like
We're a
four
cultist,
individuals.
basically.
Yeah, exactly. It's a cult essentially. We're gonna be vying for power against each other. But the truth is, these are just like normal folks, right? And they're probably kind of losers even in their town, but they want to like rise to power. So it's gonna be like regular, just kind of, you know,
Average Joes.
average people. Yeah. So that's what that's going to be. We're going to randomly roll for that. We're going to generate the warbands, and then we're going to have to go build and convert the models from like stuff we have here. You're bringing stuff. We have all the stuff in my house. It's going to be awesome.
So I'm going to be using like Necromunda models, just
Yeah,
to
totally.
like as a base layer for it,
They're
but
great
it's
for
not
humans.
going to be bespoke Necromunda games.
Nope. Exactly. I wanted to show you guys. So this is obviously too small, but I wanted to use it so I just don't have to, recreate that mechanism. So I have the windmill veins, which is just paper soaked in glue water last night, and then I've kind of ripped them up. We have these like metal barristers, which we're also using as railings over here. You can see on Brian's piece there. And these are actually kids' stables like little stables for like horses and stuff, like action figure size. So I've cut them up and I've made them into these like little structures, and we're going to be attaching them in here for the actual structure, and it's going to be like all beat up and like worn with like the metal kind of poking through. So I'm pretty excited for that. Cannot wait.
I don't know how I was going to feel about this, but I'm kind of into it.
I'm a loser that wants to rise to power. No, this is great. I think it's fantastic. Let's see. I have a couple more. I don't want to overdo it with the green.
You could also do like a really rusty kind of brown
Ooh, yeah.
on some of them. That way you can help break up. And again, red is complementary to green.
It is, absolutely. Do you have a...
Yes.
You're using just a slight red. I have this mahogany, which is...
yeah, mahogany could work.
It's a good start. I imagine we're going to want to like stipple and do a bunch of stuff on top.
I like burnt sienna a lot.
Ooh, that's nice.
Do you have... There should be warm brown, I think, also.
So warm brown is... it's at my house.
Adrian.
It's the greatest paint that they make. Ninjon's warm brown is so... Did you spill out of your cup? No! Change the camera!
I dropped my brush.
You were so upset about the warm brown.
I was. That's like one of my favorite colors because
I love
it's
that
Morn
color.
Fang brown.
It's so good.
And there's only, like, GW for the longest time was the only color or the only paint that I could find that was basically Morn Fang brown. And then warm brown came out and I was like, this is incredible.
It's amazing.
So now it's like all I use whenever I need to use like a Morn Fang brown.
Exactly.
But
Well, that's why I couldn't bring it. I had to preserve it for myself.
yeah. Well, just wait till I show up at your place
No, that's true.
and steal it.
And I need to do some cleaning before you guys get there.
It's all gonna get trashed again anyways. So.
I need to like have the illusion that this is not how it normally is for when you guys arrive. So nothing's greater than Payne's Gray. Payne's Gray.
Payne's
I'm gonna try
Gray.
that out.
It's a good paint. It's a really dark blue. It's like a really black blue kind of. I used to use it as like a base coat before I started to do all the white on my Eldar. And then I've moved on to other paints, but Payne's Gray is a really good paint. It's also good for like oil washing, especially for things like white, where you want to use like a colored thing more than you want black. But Payne's Gray is a really good color. And if you add like a yellow to it, like mix it to highlight it, it gives you like a really, really cool kind of progression, a color progression.
And that yellow is basically, whenever he's talking about using that yellow coat, is often you want to lighten the color. You think the white to add in things like white or like a lighter thing. The yellow is going to be a more rich way of like doing.
Yeah,
that.
it's more. It gives it more interest because it's chromatic, right? White and black, they only add value. They don't add any color to it, right? Because like they don't have. That's just what it is. It's black or white. So if you want it to be a little more visually interesting, you can add actual colors to whatever it is to highlight it, to lighten it up. So a lot of times I like to use pastels. I like pastels a lot. To highlight, you could also use ivory, because ivory is a little more warm. But you could also use like blues and stuff too if you want to go into more the gold spectrum. Kind of thing.
Right.
But pastels are definitely my favorite way. Just Kenneth, my Discord is just Leyva. It's my last name, so Leyva.
Is it the Piccolo picture?
It's the one with Piccolo as
Piccolo.
Yeah, he's my favorite. Adrian, I think your mic is dead.
Yeah, I realized I was muted during that last spiel,
Oh, okay.
but I forgot what I said.
We were talking about adding colors, not white,
Oh yeah, well you said it.
but yeah.
There we go.
White and black desaturate really quickly.
Yeah.
So anytime that you add white or black into a paint, it's going to desaturate the paint a lot.
Right.
So if that's what you're going for, then obviously do it. But
Exactly. Yeah, I've been muting myself every time I airbrush, so
Yep.
it was bound to happen eventually.
where
This is very dark.
is the silver?
Silver and gold. It's open already for you.
We just talked about closing these things.
I'm not the one that spilled out of my cup.
Look, I was so upset about the warm
We're
brown.
livid. I'll be curious. We'll talk about dirt soon, because I want to get your opinions on how we should approach that. So,
How to approach dirt?
like, like what colors to paint it
Oh, I see.
to match the aesthetic and the flocking.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah. All right, well, we're gonna talk about dirt soon. All right.
Like, you have a rock at the studio. I wouldn't put it past you.
I do have a rock. It's a very special rock.
This is stressing me out already, Adrian. This is the first time I've airbrushed metallics.
Is it really? This is a historic moment for you.
I hate this.
This is a core memory.
Yeah, it's gonna be the source of my anxiety for the next like 30 minutes.
That Rudolph is a classic. Okay, Willow.
What's the dude's name? Like Cornelius or something?
Yukon Cornelius, the greatest prospector in the north.
All right, I regret asking.
Yeah, I use the best. And the Abominable Snowman. This is classic. Very unfortunate message, though. Don't be different unless you're useful. That's what that movie teaches kids. Then it's okay.
This clogged my airbrush immediately.
Oh no! What? That's crazy. That never happened.
Look at this! Look at this! Look at this! There's nothing, Adrian. Why do you do this?
I can hear the air coming out. May I suggest the Iwata Eclipse? Virtually uncloggable.
So to be fair though, this is a really bad airbrush.
Yeah.
A really, really bad airbrush specifically to do stuff like this.
It seems like it might have fallen below the bar.
Yeah, this is not what I needed it to do.
Add a little bit of tan. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna. This is like the base layer for the rust, which I knew was gonna be dark. I didn't realize it was gonna be that dark. It's like, yeah, on camera it literally looks black. it's a very slightly red. Matthew Powell wants to know, have we decided on a name for the rock? I don't think we did actually. So I'm open to suggestions.
What was Patrick's rock in SpongeBob? What was his name? Was it just Rocky?
Rocky. Oh, it's probably Rocky. Yeah, it could be Rocky. It could be Yukon. Could be little Yosemite. Yosemite Sam. Well, while you're unclogging your airbrush, we can talk about rocks.
Yeah, we can do. Let's do it.
So, I'm not gonna pull up any pictures because chat won't be able to see, but this is a bit greener than I wanted. We're doing a kind of khaki tan, like, again, a lot of the inspiration comes from like the Midwest of America, like that whole kind of section where everything the flyover states. Anyways, huge like plains of like grass, farmland, but also just like even like the hills and things like that, and that kind of khaki dying grass, not only when it's like lush and green. So that's what we're thinking for kind of flocking and basing. We've got some like nice little autumnal bushes that we can add. How would you approach? What colors do you think we should do the dirt here?
That's a great question.
Fairly dark, right?
Fairly dark. I think I would still go with a more like reddish kind of brown. Less red than what's on your things. Actually, mahogany might not work, or might not be the worst.
Yeah.
I think mahogany could be fine.
Just as like a very dark base.
Yeah, because we're gonna flock over it anyways, right? That's the whole.
We are gonna, yeah.
So it's not gonna be like the prevalent thing that you see, or the most prevalent thing you see.
Yeah, I agree.
It's gonna be kind of in the background, and it'll give like a nice contrast, I think, because there's a lot of yellows and greens in there already, and as we've said already, green and red.
Complementary colors.
Complementary colors.
Turns out. Bumbles bounce. Yeah. Aaron, you get it. Casbah, the rock. That's good. John's son. I'm into it. All right, we're gonna do mahogany.
You could actually. This might not be the worst for burnt sienna either.
Oh. Ooh, that's true. It's not too red.
It's not.
It's pretty red.
It is fairly red. It is kind of red actually.
It's pretty red.
It's pretty red.
I'll keep that for the rest.
But I like it, you know.
It's a nice thought. Yeah. May I suggest Vallejo blue green? Greatest color ever made.
I blame you for this, Adrian.
I'm so sorry.
The one time I try it.
You should try everything at least once. And look, we had gone 50 minutes, probably 40 at this point. 40 minutes without clogging an airbrush. Pretty good. Pretty good.
I'm so upset.
Excited for the matchup tonight?
I am definitely excited for it. As much as I dislike Space Marines, Black Templars are kind of fun.
I'm so proud of you.
And
They're like not your style too.
they're not. I think
So
that's why they're
aggressive.
so fun, is because not only is it not my style, it's also not an army that I play often,
Right.
or ever really, because I'm not a huge fan of them. But
Yeah, it's very, very freeing.
yeah, because there's not a lot to think about. It's just like, well,
Yeah.
here's my Feel No Pain, here's my charge this turn, and let's just run at you.
Exactly. Now I have good news and bad news
Oh,
for
no,
you
I don't like this.
for your list today.
Oh no.
So you're going against Thousand Suns, very strong army.
Yep, but you can just get rid of my armor save.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I don't want it to be a blowout.
Yeah.
Shocking. So, you have Terminators, which is usually the thing we run, which is actually great because you still have that 4+ invulnerable save. You'll have Grimaldus for the 5+ Feel No Pain. But what I want us to try tonight is Gladius. So you won't have the Feel No Pain on the Terminators in addition, right? But it will give you advance and charge once per game on the whole army, and then advance and charge on a unit
Whenever
each
I
turn.
need it, yeah.
And I think that pressure is going to be very interesting into the Thousand Suns and kind of terrifying. And like fall back and charge if you get like locked up with Magnus. And +1 to wound with Lance is again big against Magnus. And so I think it's gonna be interesting.
I think, unfortunately, Gladius, I think, is just the win plan.
so good.
It seems like.
It gives you so many tools. More clay-based dirt, rich soil, and a sandy-based dirt.
Well, Clay's red.
Yeah, it's clay. It's a red clay. These are the questions we have to ask our world. Remember to shoot your Overwatch with that airbrush. Yeah.
I tried, and it failed just
What's up,
like it
James?
does in the game, too.
James, why is your name green?
Why is it not green?
Why is it not green? Agree. Turning off armor saves is worse than just another Doom Bolt. Yes. The armor saves. Oh, you would.
I don't know about that one. I feel like
No.
no armor saves is really strong.
Yeah.
On a
Obviously, it
unit-
depends. But like, I'll give you an example. So played 2 games with Shane over the weekend. Vanguard Space Marines, very, 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 very strong. Uppy downy, -1 to hit, stealth when he needs it sometimes, armor contempt, cover. Centurions. Well, I've got the uppy downy Demon Prince. So he uppies, he downies, he lands so he can see the Centurions. And oh no, you know what it was? It was the Exalted Sorcerer, Deep Strikes, 9 away, like you have to. I can't see him because I was
then
one
you
with
move,
Overwatch.
right?
I move in the shooting phase, so he can't see me. Turn off armor saves. 2 CP, Magnus shoots out of line of sight, and
Bye-bye unit.
there's literally get no saves. This thing with like a 0-up save, just pick him up.
Gone. Yeah, that's definitely more beneficial than
Crazy.
doing, what is it, D3+3? Like, the D3+3 is nice, twice,
Yeah.
but it could, like, that's not going to kill a unit of Centurions, right?
No.
It's
no.
not.
Yeah.
Like, if you spike your dice, then sure, but
Yeah, it's why I'm nervous about the Terminators, because neither is amazing against you, right? It's like, you're still going to get a 4-up against, if I remove your armor, so your armor save. I don't know. It really depends, obviously. I think one of the tougher matchups for Thousand Suns is very MSU builds. So like actually Sisters, for example, Will, I'll be curious about your thoughts. I think Sisters are potentially very difficult because Thousand Suns love going into big, beefy targets, which is one of the reasons that I think they're quite strong right now, is because you have things like Custodies that are like, we're just gonna run at you, and they're like, we would love for you to try to run at us and like be on objectives where we can reroll our wounds and do all this wild stuff. But Sisters are so distributed, like no individual unit matters. So that actually makes me nervous. I want to try that one.
yeah, I think that's pretty accurate.
Yeah. I'm gonna board the Witch Vow just like her because of 4+. This is this is true, Jacob.
What's up? Could run a board.
The other vow, 4+ from psychic
But the
attacks.
remove armor saves isn't a psychic attack. So, you, like, obviously you don't get a Feel No Pain against that. You just have no armor save.
Oh, that's also true.
So it's just like, it's not gonna...
Yeah. I think the normal detachment with the Feel No Pain is not bad, right? At the end of the day, you still get Feel No Pains, even though you lose your armor saves. But I think the pressure is going to be the key here. So again, running at me as fast as possible. Because Thousand Suns are a pretty elite army, you know?
Yeah, you don't have a lot of units. You don't have a lot of trades. So that's why I
No.
think the MSU style is probably good into them. Like, fairly good into them. Just because there's a lot of things that I can poke this thing out and I'll lose it. It's not a big deal. But you have to respond to it with one of your things. So now I can kill that thing. And if we're trading like that, where you kill a 5-man squad and I kill like a 10-man unit of Rubrics, then obviously you're going to lose that game. Not the game, but like that trade war.
Yeah.
So you'd have to really, really
Yeah.
self-aware, I guess.
It's expensive combo. Doombolt is easier to allocate. True, but I'll tell you what. Doombolt is going to kill 2 Centurions. That combo kills 6. So, again, it depends.
Adrian, we talked about this.
I was gonna. Oh no, I already did.
Oh, it is close, but you gotta wipe. You
have to wipe the top too.
Yeah, of course.
Oh
you
my
see
God.
that bubble of paint that was sitting up there, Adrian?
Uh,
All right, we're gonna ye old dry brush. All right, I'm over the airbrush now. You want a bright silver, or do you want like?
well, I meant so all of this is going to get watered down,
Okay.
washed down.
Fair enough.
So it doesn't have to be bright. You can, meaning you can use that if you want. This is not the final result. I want this to be like this is an abandoned mill that was in use for like many, many, many years, but has been abandoned for like 100 or something.
Oh, that's a fish. I think I want more of an overbrush than I do want an actual dry brush. Yeah, that's definitely.
Able to turn it to the camera.
Yep. This is gonna take so much longer. But I refuse.
Do you want?
Nope, I refuse.
Okay, I can.
Yeah, I want that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like that's a great, real nice dry brush.
Yeah, but for terrain, it's not.
But for this is like we just need to like.
Yeah.
This one is probably a little bit too much, but I'll give that to you.
I'll use this one. This is huge.
Tell Leva I sent him links to best airbrush advice and training for mini airbrushing. Mini airbrushing. Sweet. Sounds great.
Nice.
Let's check it out.
All right, we'll definitely check it out.
Thanks, Kenneth. What's everyone working on today? I know it's middle of the day for many of us, but projects in mind for tonight, maybe?
I ordered a bunch of, so at Adepticon I bought a ton of models. And I just went and I ordered a bunch of plinths for said models.
Yes.
So I got a notification this morning saying they're on the way. And I'm super excited.
Big old box of plinths.
Yeah, but now that just means it's a real thing and I have to actually work on them.
Yeah, that's daunting, because each of those is a big project.
Yeah, they're huge.
Oh my god. That stresses me out.
I'm super excited though. Like the one that I want to do for Vegas. I mean, I told you about it when we were leaving the studio, but I have a plinth that I was gonna use for it.
Yeah.
But then I was like, it's too small for what I wanted to do because I wanted to play with like, the size, you know?
Right.
It's like I need something that I actually depict that fairly well instead of this smaller plinth that it was gonna be on. So I'm super excited.
That sounds amazing.
And I'm still trying to debate on the categories for next year. And I kind of need to figure it out soon because if I'm going to be entering more than one,
Oh, right.
I need to actually work on it. So it's kind of a struggle.
Look, it's only 354 days until Adepticon.
Yeah. It's like that countdown in The Grinch.
Yeah, exactly. How many, do you know how many categories there are?
12, 13 categories, I think.
12, 13, and 3 placings on each?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a category for every game that GW makes now.
Yeah.
And then there's also
Right.
the large categories. So AOS and 40K also have a large category. And then they have a unit. Unit or kill team, not kill team, unit or warband for AOS and 40K. And then in addition to like the singles for 40K and Sigmar.
Right. Okay.
So there are a good number of categories. And then also the open stuff, so there's a lot to enter if I wanted to, but
So many opportunities to win.
I think
or lose.
3 is the sweet spot.
Yeah.
I think 3 is what I want to enter. 2 at a minimum.
Yeah, makes sense.
We'll see.
Too long of a wait. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. So there's no aeronautic category.
There is. So epic it's all like epic
okay,
scale.
okay,
So
okay.
that's the Legion Imperialis, the epic, or not epic. What do they call it? Titanicus and the aeronautica stuff. It's all in
right.
the same category.
Yeah. Well, it's all basically the same game now, technically.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. I really liked there was the 2 grots jumping out of a Dakajet.
Yeah.
With the perspective was so sick.
I love that. I think that
amazing.
was that diorama? I think that was diorama. Or was that duel? I think it was.
It was
diorama.
duel.
Was it duel?
It was a duel. Yeah.
Oh,
Which
wait,
is
that's
hilarious.
the same category. Diorama duel is all the same category now.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, that was one of the things that they like condensed to make
Huh.
room for all the extra categories, and people were not happy about it
Yeah, that's.
because it's hard to judge those things together. Also, like the categories for large vehicle or large monster is also the category, or large model is also the category for vehicle in both
Right.
AOS and 40K. So
Right.
it's like, how do you judge a tank next to something like
Yeah.
Angron?
Yeah, that's weird.
Like, it's hard, right? They're
Very
not
different
even. They're
things.
very different, like approaches to painting those things, and it's like, well, they can look really good. It's just one doesn't really compare well to the other because you're comparing apples and oranges.
Hi, Kenneth. Yeah, and the duel versus diorama makes me sad because it just means you see less.
Yeah, there's
those are
always
both
going to have
cool,
dioramas because
interesting.
dioramas are generally more interesting.
Then a duel?
I think so.
To
Yeah.
me, a duel like tells such a cool story. Like,
Yeah, but you can. I think it's. Yeah, I don't know. I think a diorama is more interesting just because it's like. I don't know. It's hard.
yeah.
But that's kind of the point. Like, it's really hard to separate the two.
Yeah, it's a shame. Like I think those are both interesting categories. Craig got locked out of your account. I don't know if Melody or Willow are able to point you in the right direction right now. There are our mods for Discord as well as YouTube. So if not, you can also DM me on Discord and I can check it out. Gaz was in both large and single miniature. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of also. The categories are fairly ambiguous.
Yeah.
So if it could fit into multiple categories, it can just be entered into whatever categories, right? Mm-hmm. Which I'm not a huge fan of. Like, there should be some type of standard. Like, oh, if it's above this specific base size or whatever. And obviously, you don't need to use the bases when you submit, but like, when you buy the model, it comes with the base. So that's a really easy way to define the categories. But a lot of the things, like, they could fit into multiple categories. Like a diorama could also be the same thing as like a unit.
Right.
Especially if the way that you're presenting it, it could be the same
Exactly.
category.
Well, I'm open to like creative interpretations.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know there's going to be some gray areas, but that's also kind of where you can have a bit of fun with it, you know? So, all right, I'm going to do something you should never do, which is thin with water. I'm going to make like a little gross, nasty black wash. This is too much water. Too much. But I just want to kind of darken and grime up some of these silver patches. And one of the reasons you want to be careful when you're thinning with water is it might look fine at first, but when it dries, you're going to get these like kind of gray patches. Like gray, white kind of dried areas. You gotta be careful. But we're just trying to really grime up this silver. And you can see, let's see, where can you guys see this? So I did water it down too much. So what I'm gonna do is you can see I've grabbed a bunch of the paint and like that's actually quite thick right there, right? So just gonna get the most condensed parts. I'm not actually gonna just straight up dip it inside. And then we might wipe away a little bit of this. Grunge it up. Let's go. The 90s are back. Duel has to work harder, in my opinion, because both models have to visually play. I like tomorrow, but yeah, play together.
Yeah, I think oftentimes too, like the categories, they want to see creativity. And the ones that win are the ones that have like small conversions, or they've done like resculpting stuff as well. So it's
Right.
like it's a unique thing.
Yeah.
And with the duel, oftentimes there are people like, not that there's anything wrong with it, but they'll take like stock models that already have like these action poses, and they'll just put them in front of each other.
Right.
Which again, nothing wrong with it, but if you're trying to be like in the creativity category, right? That's
That's a category?
no, it's not actually category.
you
But
just
like
mean
when they
conceptually.
when they
Yeah,
judge
yeah.
it, they definitely look at it like this is very creative. It's a unique thing. This is celebrating whatever it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And obviously the same could be said for like a diorama if you just stick dudes on the base on
Right.
like or a weird hill so they're staggered and have height or whatever. Like it could
Yeah.
be said the same way.
That stuff also all seems very like stressful to me because of the ambiguity of it. You know, they specified this year if you had hand sculpted things, or if you had custom sculpted pieces, you had to have sculpted them yourself.
Right.
You can't have had someone else do it or print it or whatever. Do you like? But is there like a formal? Is sculpting a formal part of it?
No, so if you hand
Right.
sculpt something, generally speaking, if you're doing like a whole model, you can only enter into the open category, which means you're not eligible for the Flare Sword, which is like the ultimate, like best in show kind of thing.
Interesting. Okay.
But if you're just like sculpting little bits and pieces here, like, oh, I made tentacles for this thing,
We're good.
then it's generally not that big of a deal because it's not like going to exclude you from anything. But if it's like a whole model, then you have to go into the open category with it.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, it's just that would stress me out,
Yeah.
and it's just like,
Oh, trust me, it's very stressful.
yeah,
And this is only my first Golden Demon. So these people that have been going for years and decades and however long they've done this every year, it's just like, geez.
interesting,
And this is their struggle every time.
right? Well, I mean, I guess it's the fact that it's complex also makes it interesting to come back and try and like learn like the meta.
Well, yeah, exactly. Oh, that's actually a big thing. So Trevarian, he had a video that he
Oh yeah,
posted
Yeah.
on his YouTube, and he was just like going through all the winners of the categories and stuff, and he was saying how like this year was like a texture fest. Like everybody that won had like this very subtle, either like stipple texture or like line texture, stuff like that. But every piece had basically that in it. Whereas like previous years, they've had no texture in it and they don't want texture.
They want like smooth blends.
Right, exactly. Or like NMM wins usually more than TMM, but there's a lot of TMM in this year's winning.
Right.
So it's like the game is changing.
Yeah.
So it's really cool to see that there is an evolution of like the styles. And so like the heavy metal style used to almost exclusively win.
Right.
Now, it doesn't.
Ah, okay.
So it's very, very weird.
It is weird.
Because it's like a GW thing. And they're not even choosing their own style, you know? It's
Yeah.
funny.
50 to 75% has to be official GW.
So everything has to be GW or has to be made yourself.
So you could do a whole model.
Yeah, you could do a whole model, but then now you have to go into the open category. But it also
Right.
has to be done by you.
Right.
However, there was a lot of 3D printed like basing stuff at Golden Demon this year, and a lot of people that won also had 3D printed stuff on their bases.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't know what that means.
But what if they? Yeah, that's interesting.
Well,
I mean, in my
Epic Basing were, I know for a fact
They
Epic
were on
Basing
it?
were in 2 of the winners
Then
for the Golden
that
Demon.
shouldn't count, in my opinion. They didn't sculpt that.
Right.
If you digitally sculpted it,
Right,
and printed it
yeah.
out, then I'm fine with it. But if you didn't, then like that's literally like a model, the piece of.
Yeah.
Oh, then becomes an interesting discussion around like the means of production of like what is artistry and like what are we looking for here? Because like obviously if you have blades of grass,
Or grass tufts,
Tufts.
like you didn't make
You
those
didn't make
tufts.
those,
You
yeah.
bought them from other companies, right? So
Exactly.
like it's one of those things where it's like
Where's
it's a
the line?
product that we have that's easily accessible throughout the hobby.
Yeah.
And it's like they don't want to punish you and have you like, oh, you can't use grass unless you make your own tufts. It's like,
Right,
well, that's
yeah.
not realistic and it's not reasonable to expect anybody to do that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like a 3D printing thing is not exactly the same.
no, because it very much is the same like sculpting skills,
Right.
and it's like a model,
Right. But
whatever a model is.
personally, I don't really see the issue with it.
Yeah.
Just because, it's one of those things where it's like, it's a hobby thing, right? You have access to it, so why can't you use the things in the hobby? So like, you're still the one that has to paint it. You're still the one that has to put it in a way that makes sense on the piece for the composition.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's an automatic, I put this 3D printed thing there and I don't have to do anything else, and that's all there is to it.
Right.
Because you still have to make it, you have to incorporate it. It has to feel like it exists in a realistic way. But
Absolutely.
I don't know. I'm obviously not an expert. I'm just a dude.
No, it's good. It's good, and I'm curious what folks in chat think. Like, where do you draw the line Do you think it's okay to have 3D printed models that you
not
do
models.
sculpt? I mean,
Bits. Like bits for the basing. I didn't see any 3D printed like models.
True.
That would have been a hard
but
no.
what's like? It's a model, like
Yeah, but
grass, like sculpted, modeled parts
yeah.
that are agreed. Like it's not part of the model, the character, the creature, the thing, the subject, but like I don't know. Where do you draw the line?
Yeah, I
Like,
don't
what if they had like ferns that were part of a GW model, and it was like in the model? Like, let's say they have like a tactical rock with ferns. Then is it part of the model? Like, why is that a model? The other one's not a model.
Yeah.
You know. And I'm not trying to be difficult.
No.
Genuinely, I think they have to be able to answer these questions.
I think they should set some type of ground rules for it, but because there isn't any ground rules,
Yeah.
it makes it very difficult to like know what's okay and what's not okay.
Yeah. Exactly.
And it makes it very
And it
difficult
changes.
and it changes all the time, right? And it makes it almost impossible for somebody getting into it just now to know what the right answer is,
Yeah, for sure.
which is obviously the worst case.
Yeah. Like, good luck. Melody says no holds bar stuff. Willow, as long as you're the only painter, go for it. I'm for chaos. 3D print parts like Alan Forge has awesome Celtic wolves for arms and heads. Yeah.
See that? So stuff that goes on the actual model, I'm
not
not
allowed.
okay with, right? Because I think the model itself should feel like, unless you're sculpting yourself, obviously, then it should still be GW because it's a GW thing and that's like the parameters they set. But like
Yeah.
a base, to me, you're creating it from scratch and you're doing that anyway. So like the texture paste that you use,
Right.
it's not GW. The milliput that you're using is not
That's
GW.
true.
The green stuff is not GW. So like,
Yeah.
what is the boundaries, right?
Right.
Like you're using things that are already outside of the scope of Games Workshop. So how do you draw the line between
Yeah.
like the model itself has to be GW, but everything else cannot be, or like what's the
Yeah, that's a great point.
how do you divide that?
So what I'm doing here is I'm doing some stippling. Speaking of texture, I've taken some burnt sienna, watered it down just a bit here, and this big, cheap hobby brush. We're just kind of poking around stippling. A lot of what you see is like water. It's like just wet basically. But then some of this red is going to stay, and we're just trying to give it a bit of like a rusty texture. We'll probably add some other like actual rust effects, but this way you can kind of do it over a larger space, and it just gives it a bit more definition. Yeah. Did you hear the inverted vampire model that won the bottom part was inverted was actually 3D printed that way? What?
What?
I have not heard that.
I did not hear that, but
That's
okay. Okay.
Is that part of the model? Wait, was it the vampire? Because it's like it's like an old Citadel wood. Did they like?
So here's what I'm thinking, right? So if you take two models that are the exact same model and you flip them, they don't match up. They're not exactly mirrored.
Oh, right. Yeah, they wouldn't be, so you'd have to. Oh no. Part of me does wish that it was just the same model, but interesting.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know. There's no way they just let that win the Slayer Sword if that's the case, right?
I mean,
He must have sculpted at least some, but there's no way to get an exact replication of it.
right, you'd have to like scan it and then print it. Like scan it, invert it, print it.
That's so tough.
But on the other hand, kind of like I think it was. Anyways, we got this amazing thing out of it, so I'm almost like, well.
Yeah, but that's tough, right? Because everything is so amazing. All of it's art, right? So
Yeah, I know.
when you're putting constraints on art, it's like, well,
Right.
it makes it less.
There is, at some level, there is an issue with competitive art.
Well, I mean, the idea of competitive art is ludicrous.
Yeah.
Art is subjective, so how then can we define it and make it competitive?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? That's kind of the whole point
Yep.
of, like, it doesn't make sense. But we are competitive by nature, so we want to know that our art is better than your art,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly. Well, people want to be recognized.
Yeah, exactly.
So. Which, frankly, is one of the reasons we're doing this project, right? not everything has to be about being the best player, the best painter, the best whatever.
I'm going to be the best narrative player.
The best narrative. You're going to forge the best narrative. And it's just like going with a fun thing, and making it happen.
And it's an excuse to just hang out with friends, too. Like,
yeah.
Oftentimes, whenever we hang out with our friends, we're playing 40K in like a competitive setting or whatever.
Right.
This is obviously so far removed from that. It's just an excuse to hang out and have a good time.
Yeah, exactly. These will not be in the game tonight. They're for our pseudo Necromunda campaign this weekend, but they'll absolutely make it in the rotation. Like maybe we'll play them on a table next week after we finish this. They're not meant for 40K. They're not practical for 40K.
It's so not
but
practical.
That never stops us. So we'll probably go for it, but not tonight. Not tonight. Tonight is going to be Thousand Suns versus the Black Templars. It's going to be a lot of fun. So join us for that. It's going to be the two of us playing, and I'm excited. Been really liking the Thousand Suns lately.
Yeah, you've been really big on them.
Yeah, they've been really
You've
fun.
been like painting up a lot of them actually.
Yeah,
Do you still have the double beasts in the?
So this list only has one beast.
Oh,
I know.
Spicy.
I love the beasts, but the more I learn the army, the more I'm like, okay, I want to have more cabal points to do this thing, and like a little bit more, some more tools. So like the Demon Prince is the newest thing that I'm playing around with, which is very expensive, but he gets uppy downy every turn on a Demon Prince, which is super cool, and it unlocks some of the like more tactical flexibility, which I love about the army. So we'll see. And then I have a one of the biggest questions for me in this current list is I have the regular sorcerer on foot, who gives me 18-inch lone operative. Really not going to matter against you. Doesn't matter against some opponents, but against some opponents, it's like really important. Like Night Spinners, Guard. You don't want your back objective to just be shelled to death, you know? Yep. And currently, I have him carrying the Lord of Forbidden Lore, which is the double ritual, which is really important because you don't want them to die. So, but he is like, part of me wishes that he was something else. So we'll see. That's one of the questions for tonight. You've never seen a Necromunda game. Yeah, as Willow said, we did do a fun video a couple years back. And we might come back to it at some point, but oh no, this silver paint has dried. Oh God. But there will be a video about this campaign over the weekend. It's gonna be fun. So, okay, trying to keep myself moving.
It's gonna be like herding cats, trying to get all of us to figure out anything to do cohesively together.
It's impossible. That's also why, like, again, this morning I kind of just wrote out the campaign in broad strokes, but there are strokes. I think you need to like give people direction.
Yeah,
exactly. Otherwise, it's
like guidelines more than it is rules, right?
Exactly. Just like we're playing Necromunda. Oh wow, maybe Willow's favorite stream ever. Yeah, it was really fun.
I think a Necromunda, like a bespoke Necromunda campaign, would be really cool.
It'd be awesome
because we have access to so much terrain.
I know.
Which is kind of like a big hindrance for Necromunda because it is so terrain dependent. Like you want it to feel unique, but you don't want to be playing on 40K tables.
Yeah,
so
that's the thing. We should probably do some weathering, huh?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I just finished this over after like 30 minutes. I told you this was going to be the source of my anxiety for a half hour, and I was not lying.
Well, it looks great. Oh, I like got the ladder. That's nice. The little escape ladder.
Yeah.
I also have some hatches. I didn't glue them in place because I wanted some flexibility. So the Nomad set we were looking at with the radar array, and then there's like a little escape hatch so we can put them here, and it'd be interesting because we can play like different types of like scenarios where it's like, oh, you're trying to get to the hatch or you're trying to send off a signal.
Get to the bomb shelter.
Yeah, you get to the bomb shelter. Yeah, which is something that I would definitely put into this one, right? It's like a lot of this stuff is like normal kind of rickety doors and stuff like that, but then the back there's like this industrial like safe, this vault. What's going on there? Have fun, Simply Brazen. Thanks for hanging out. All right, weathering. Where do you want to start?
What a question. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yours is already kind of weathered.
I did kind of start weathering. I didn't officially.
You left
say
me behind.
I did. I didn't mean to.
Not very nice.
So the rust is kind of the start of a rust effect. We can certainly add some more. I think I actually want to do that. There's a few ways you can go about that. One is you can use actual rust effects. Do you have any bright ones? Because I might also just do it by hand.
I have like a an oil that you could use, but it's not gonna. You could like stipple it on, and it would help, but it
Yeah.
might just run also because it's plastic card, right?
It is plastic card,
It
yeah.
might just run,
It's not
yeah.
super textured. Okay, so I think what I want to show here is actually how to do it with no special products. We're basically going to go ahead and paint in some like orange rust around the edges, maybe like a little dripping, which you can do.
Well, around
just-
the edges, this should work actually. Really
Yeah.
well. But I was thinking of like the big flat panels. It might actually, if you put it on and let it run, it actually might work
That
really
could be
well
cool.
too.
Do you think it's bright enough?
It's pretty bright.
Yeah. Okay. All right. How do I haven't used this product before.
You just open it.
I'm scared. Ah! Ah!
It's fairly bright.
Oh, it is pretty bright.
Well, it's brighter than the brown at least.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. That's true.
You have here.
All right.
So a
Perfect.
synthetic brush. So you don't want to use a
Excellent.
nice
Excellent.
one,
Excellent.
and then you could just
You just go for it.
go to town. Yeah.
Beautiful. Let's see what we got. And then again, chat. This
It's
is
scale 75. They have like their pre-mixed oil, which is what I like to use a lot when I'm like doing commissions or army painting stuff, just because it's way easier to use than like mixing your own oils from like Winsor & Newton or whatever, and then you get the mineral spirits and all the other things. And these also dry fairly quickly too, which is really nice.
I don't know how to get in here. This thing is so unwieldy. I can't do this.
I should probably start with the black wash actually.
Black wash.
Yeah.
Yeah, get them nice and grungy.
Oh, and then the only thing is, it's obviously not water soluble. So when you rinse off your brush,
Yeah.
if you put it in water, it's not gonna do anything.
Right.
Which I'm about to do right now.
Do you have a
but,
special? How do you normally do it?
You can
Alcohol?
use alcohol or like mineral spirits. I just forgot to bring mineral spirits, but I have the airbrush cleaner if you want to use a little bit of
Gotcha,
that.
for sure. So what I'm going to do here, Chad, is as we were just discussing, it does work best if you have a texture to kind of work with. These are going to grab onto different like edges and surfaces and kind of pool up in ways that look and feel like rust. So you can see I did add a bit of texturing around here, and that's going to be best for that. So I'm going to start by just doing this, and it's pretty traditional. Most rust effects will be similar, and you can, I am kind of putting it at a bit of an angle so we can kind of get a bit of natural drips and drops, but you can also just like swish like this and kind of create the sense that they are kind of dripping down. So I like this. I think I might still add a bit of brighter effect afterwards, but this is going to be a nice base for it.
Yeah, I like these a lot. They're super easy to use, and it has like a really nice impact immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So they're really nice.
Yeah, I haven't used these particular ones. It's nice. We're going to kind of go around the edges.
So the stuff that has like the ridges and stuff, it's obviously going to hold a lot of it in. So you could always spread it out to make it as thin as you want it to be, or you can leave it thick. It'll dry the same basically. It will leave a different finish on the model though. So if you do this and then try to paint on top of it with normal acrylics, it might not take super well, just because it'll have like a really glossy surface.
Right.
So in that case, you just need to use like a matte varnish or something out of the airbrush, or rattle can or whatever,
Right.
just to help give a texture that your paint can stick to.
Exactly. I started going on this green, but I'm going to want to do some chipping on the green, so I'm going to avoid that.
Yeah.
Chipping and then rust.
And then Chris Cowboy, I don't think 3D printed parts are an issue. I don't care. Like, I'll use 3D printed stuff. I'll use third-party stuff. As long as there's no restriction that says you can't do it, then I don't think there's an issue with it. And that applies for painting competitions as well. If there's nothing that says don't do this, then there's no reason that you shouldn't or that you can't.
Yes.
Like the GW thing says all GW, or the Golden Demon says all GW models, right? But it's very ambiguous, obviously, so that's where a lot of the issues are. But for something like the Vegas paint competition, or even like best painted at a local GT or whatever, like if it doesn't have a rule that says you can't do it, then there's no reason that you can't.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this whole discussion is kind of around, it's definitely not meant to call people out.
No, not at all.
It's a question, it's just like, okay, if you're going to go and if you're going to judge painting and you're going to have these requirements, I think it's interesting to talk about what that means, you know? I think outside of these competitions where they do have to make kind of explicit rules, certainly anything goes. I think it's great. Anything, like, just let people be creative and do cool stuff. It's awesome. We love 3D printing parts. So, yeah. There's nothing there's nothing that says a dog can't play basketball. You are correct. Yeah.
almost want to airbrush this, but I know.
Won't we die?
Yeah, that's why. If I was at home, I would do it.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna. Because also, I have like the streaking grime too.
Streaking grime's great.
But it's like meant for greens actually. It's like a green, which is actually that's why I brought it because.
You're doing, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I was more aggressive with the basing material on this because it's looking really nice wherever I have that texture. I didn't want to overdo it. It would just like cover the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. I also have different colors too. If you don't want to just use the rusty color, I have a black one, I have brown, and then like really greasy kind of. I think I'm actually using grease. Is this grease or is this mud? This is
grease or mud.
So I have mud, grease, the rust obviously, and then it's like a black one, but
That's awesome.
black wash.
Scale 75, huh?
Scale 75, yeah, they have a ton of colors. They also have like a really yellow kind of rust, which just didn't grab for some reason. I was like, oh, we're not going to use the yellow rust. Immediately wanted the lighter rust color.
Yeah, of course. That's always how it goes. These panels will come back to.
I think and then also the streaking grime, like I said, yeah.
Right.
I think I'm going to use that for the shingle things, the roofing.
Okay. Oh yeah, I like that.
And just like do actual streaks on it.
Yeah.
So try to like simulate rain or something.
Thanks,
That's
Clayton.
something.
Appreciate it. Do you guys plan to do any more Combat Patrol content? Yes, we want to do some more. We're not necessarily planning on doing a lot. It's I wish it had a little bit more life to it. Like I wish there was ways to expand on the combat patrols or like replaying matchups was a bit more interesting. Clayton was just saying that they really enjoyed the game that you led, Brian, which I think you did a great job, honestly.
Yeah, combat patrol is fun. It's kind of like a weird thing because it's 40k light, but also not really.
Yeah.
Because it's like its own thing, you know?
Yeah.
It's like it was fun, but I'm not a huge fan of how everything is just kind of set for you, right? Like all your weapon options, all the units that you could take. And I get why they do it because that's how they sell the boxes and they're trying to make it easy for people just getting into the game.
Yeah.
So like I understand it, but I don't know.
I really like the idea of combat patrol.
Yes.
I probably would have executed it a bit differently.
Yes.
Which was interesting because when we started the video series with Mel and Lindsay, we started like talking about it and planning in the beginning of the edition. We're like, oh, combat patrol is very exciting. Like, this is gonna be really cool for like new players. And I think it's fairly cool for new players, but like by the time we got around to actually doing the project, it was like kind of clear that it wasn't quite what everyone was hoping for, including us. And so we kind of ended up having this different perspective where it's like, okay, it's cool, but
Yeah, but not really what.
yeah, there's not the
thought.
longevity.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
yeah,
feel like it's a game that it's fun to watch, I think, one-offs, but if you've watched a lot of it, it would kind of get stale just because of every army is set. It's all the same, and as soon as you see it once, you've seen it every time, you know? Like, there's no granularity in it.
yeah, exactly.
And that's kind of my issue with it. Not that I dislike it by any means, it's just
Right.
the one-offs, I think, is where it's better.
Newest White Dwarf issue has 2v2. Oh, 2v2 combat patrol. That could be fun. Nice and casual.
Mel and Lindsay versus me and you.
Yes.
Students against teachers.
Yeah. We'll see how much you've learned. Just like take it way too seriously.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Here's a great question from Michael Spiegel. Are they ever going to get the Calidus Assassin back in stock?
No.
Nope. Shane's been going through that struggle lately.
The fact that you want it is why.
Yeah.
Because everybody wants
Everyone
it.
wants it. Everyone,
And-
like, it's in every Imperialist because
Yep.
it's too gosh darn good.
It is just too strong.
Yeah. Did you end up adding?
Yes, there is the thinner in there.
So yeah, I definitely feel your pain there. Luckily, we have a beautiful one painted by Willow from like Titan Wash. Let's see. What old world armies can we see coming to the channel if you're willing to share? Absolutely, Vlad von Karstein, great name. So right now, I'm actively working on my Orcs and Goblins. Mostly trolls right now. Although I am sad, I don't know that we're gonna be able to do the troll army. At least I don't think it's necessarily worth the time and effort. Because the troll army of infamy Renown. You can't have night goblins. You can't have black orcs. You can't have.
You
Some
can't
of the,
have any of the cool stuff.
You can't. Well, trolls are pretty cool, and giants are pretty cool.
Oh, fair
But
enough.
the like for your core and stuff, you have to have like regular goblins and regular orcs, which I frankly have no interest in working on right now. So instead, I'm kind of shifting to more of an all-purpose list. I still will have the trolls. I want to have the troll hag. It's super cool. But the troll army of infinite will probably wait. So right now I'm more because like growing up, it was like I was like all about the night goblins. That was like I actually didn't really play a ton of orcs. It was all goblins. So like that's what I want to work on. So yeah.
And then at some point, I will be getting I have like a Beastman army that's getting printed for me. Oh!
Oh!
That was so
That's almost
dangerous.
disastrous.
I have a Beastman army that's getting printed up, so
Yeah.
soon, hopefully within like the next month or so, I'll get it back. It's like it's a ton of models.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'll get it all back at once, and then I'll work on it. But that's kind of
That's a big project.
pipe
It's gonna
dream
be beautiful.
at this point.
Orcs, more like snorks. Thanks, Godforge. Appreciate the support. I love my goblins. Someone said something. Oh yeah. So Aaron said, "Do you think a 500 points boarding action game would be more fun?" I actually do. I actually really like boarding action. I think they did a better job of simplifying and fixing a lot of the small game problems, but still giving people a little bit of room to like list build or grow. Like you have a new player, they buy Combat Patrol. You're like, cool. They're like, what's the next step? What should I get next? And it's like,
Full
well,
40K army.
yeah, that's literally the only thing that's next. So boarding action is pretty cool. I know it was designed to be able to work across both editions. We haven't actually played it in 10th edition yet, but I think it'd be cool.
I don't think I've ever played boarding actions.
Oh.
And I say I don't think. I know I have not actually played boarding actions.
Yeah, you would remember.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's fun.
I did like a boarding action-esque kind of thing at the Maelstrom Mixer last year.
Oh yeah.
I played on that table.
Play that mission.
It was me and Zach played actually. It was so fun. It was
that's funny.
such a crazy game, but it was a ton of fun.
So cool.
But it was like a really weird mix of like a D&D kind of thing, where it's like I don't know what's in these rooms, and I have to choose what room to go into. And as soon as I walk into the room, now all the enemies show up, and that's what I have to fight. So Zach was like the defender, and I was obviously playing Eldar. He had Alpha Legion.
Right.
Or was it? No, it was Alpha Legion.
Yeah, it's Alpha Legion.
And so he like had set up all these rooms, and like, but he can only ever have so many things per room, obviously, because it was like a 500 point. I had 500 points, and he had like 1,000 points.
Right.
So like whatever I lost, whatever died, like was actually dead. Like I didn't get it back, kind of thing, going from room to room. And so there was one room that I walked into, and it was just like obliterators. With like possessed or something, or something ridiculous. Like I don't know how to. And all I had left at the time was like 3 Dire Vendors, Jane Czar, and like 5 Banshees. And I was like,
no.
I don't know what to do here.
You close the door and you walk away. That's exactly what you do. Oh, that's fun.
It was a ton of fun. That was like my favorite scenario from the whole weekend. I hope they have it again this year.
I'm very excited for the Maelstrom Mixer. It's gonna be awesome. What's up, John McCardle? Just sends a smiley face with a cowboy hat.
Oh no.
Okay, John. So, all right, chat. This is the thing that happened. We get a lot of packages here. I was waiting for stuff for this. It was like, oh, so exciting to get it was like the card stock or something. Get a package. I open it up. I'm like, the package has 4 sets of cowboy hats in it, and I was like, huh, that's
Not what I ordered. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe. Oh, you know what it is? The new Magic set's coming out. It's Outlaws Thunder Junction. It's all Wild West theme. That's what it is. There's 4 cowboy hats. We'll probably play a commander game, 1 for each of them. Didn't think twice of it. A couple days later, Bridger comes in and I was like, ah, you son of a gun, we got you hats. And he's like, I didn't buy those. And I was like, what? Who's buying those cowboy hats? And then Lindsay was like, oh yeah, what's your middle name? I was like, Michael Charles. And she's like, okay, so it's not Danger. I was like, no. She's like, 'cause this was addressed to Adrian Danger Phillips. And I was like, that's John McCardle. Because I think it was like our game. We were talking about like Necrons and Destroyers having like being cowboys basically. So with that, we now have, oh, Mel's right on camera. We got some cowboy hats.
On the buckles.
Yeah, we don't do the buckles yet. Amazing. And now we gotta do the part.
Are we doing this?
Oh, you look so cute. What's up?
Oh,
What's
yeah.
up, partner? Yeah.
This makes it very
Oh, that's
difficult to
good.
see anything for painting.
And you can rock it. It's a good look. Yep. Howdy, partner. And that's how we came to have a set of 4 cowboy hats at the studio.
I haven't worn a cowboy hat in so long.
Yeah?
It's been so long. I feel like you wear them often, but also like not.
I wish I could.
No? You could.
I'm not. So the thing is,
Would you wear a helmet when you ride?
Yeah, that's the
you
that's the problem.
nerd.
I know you'll die. You'll die if you fall off a horse without a helmet.
You just gotta
don't fall.
live dangerously.
That's true,
Adrian
dude.
has fallen into a river.
I have fallen into a river before. But yeah, you have to. I have to wear a helmet, and so when I was like, "Can't wear cowboy hat."
Wait, Mel, do you wear a helmet?
Yes.
Oh, dang it. I was gonna laugh.
I'm like
if
in
she
my bubble
didn't
suit.
and you
Yeah,
didn't.
yeah. But here's the thing: they make helmets with cowboy hats with
So
helmets.
bad.
They look very dumb, but I think it could be cool. I think I can make it work.
They also make hard hats that
Yeah.
are cowboy hats as well
Oh,
for like
okay.
construction stuff. I've seen.
Yeah, yeah. Do you have one of those?
No. I
I need to get this.
no.
And the boots. I kind of want boots now with time.
Like real cowboy boots?
Cowboy boots. Yeah.
Enjoy breaking them in.
They are miserable. I'll tell you what.
It'll be beautiful.
You did ride a bucking horse yesterday.
Yeah. You
Wait,
don't know
you
one
rode
can
a
hear you,
bucking horse? What does that mean?
Mel really wants to be part of it.
Mel doesn't want to go back to work.
I did ride a bucking horse yesterday. My horse, I hadn't ridden in a while. Not my horse. It's a friend's horse, but he was a little cranky because it's
The horse was cranky, or your friend was
the
cranky?
horse was cranky.
Okay, okay.
My boy Santana is the horse, and the hills are beautiful here in California right now. It's all green, it's lush, it's all food for the horses. They love it. But it means that like basically you're just walking around and there's like food everywhere on the ground. Imagine you're a horse, and he was just like wanting to like constantly stop and eat. I'm just like, nope, not gonna do that. And he was like literally throwing this like complete fit. He was like shaking his head and he was like trying to buck me off, and I was like, no, this is not gonna happen, not today. And so he had his fit. It was fine after that. He was a good boy. It was a nice ride. But yeah, horses, pain in the butt.
They're scary. Horses are terrifying.
Yeah.
I guess that's why you wear a helmet, but.
Yeah. Mel could tell you horror stories that will make you wear a helmet. All right, I'm gonna do some chipping. Chip in. I'm gonna try something first. So I wanna chip the green. Usually, I do a 2-step chipping process. The first step is basically the same color or a lighter color. It needs to be basically as if the paint was starting to get scraped off. So it's generally going to be a lighter version of what you already have. So I do that, and I kind of stipple that on, and then the next layer will be like a brown or a gray or a metal, depending on like how thick you want the chipping to be, right? Because you could do 3-4 layers easily, right? John, did you expect them to be good-looking cowboy hats?
Yeah, I'm not sure what exactly. These are like dollar store general cowboy hats.
Yeah, he's like, oh my god, I thought those were real hats. Anyway, so I'm gonna try. This is just with the same color. Cool. It actually is gonna work. Sometimes it's not enough of a contrast, and so you'll have to like lighten it up or like find the next shade up and do it. But this is working. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have a second layer of chipping. And so I need to make sure that this is like thick enough, it reaches far enough that the next layer just has to go like this far, and you can still see both. You're not covering one up with the other. And what I have here in the tweezers is just part of this brush, the sacrificial brush I've been ripping off slowly over the years, and just dabbing a little paint here, and dabbing it here. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna give us these like kind of random shapes that look like chipped paint. You can do it by hand. It's going to give you a more stylized kind of cartoony look, which can be good. I do it on my orc sometimes. But again, you got to think about like, what's the look that you want to do? As humans, we're very bad at not making patterns. So if you do it by hand, that's the thing to watch out for. We love making patterns.
Also be careful with that too, though, because if you're trying to like intentionally not make a pattern, you'll inevitably just spend up way more time.
Oh, so true, right?
Doing it because like when I did the Tyranids and everything was like the dog.
Oh, yeah.
When I first started, everything I was trying to make super random. And I was like, it's taking me 20 minutes for one model because I'm trying to make sure that there's no like repetition here.
Right.
So I was like, you know what? I just have to do a pattern because otherwise it's just going to take way too much time.
Yeah, that's
so like,
fair.
just be cognizant. Like if you're trying to do quick, if you're trying to make it, more realistic or believable or whatever, right? It's just whatever you're going for.
Absolutely. Well said.
How are we feeling about this streaking grain here?
Oh, that's kind of a lot.
I have like another one that's like a slimy kind of texture that I'm gonna do after.
Let's push it back just a bit so camera can see.
So if you guys can see here along like the tops of the roofing. I've done the streaking grim, and I've just pulled it down. So basically, it's just this is kind of like a flat brush. And the bristles aren't very like together. They're very well, they make for really good streaks. Yeah. So I'm just like pulling it down like this.
I like it. I think there's pretty good. I really like this side. I think this side is the only one that kind of gets a little
That
too
was
much.
the first one that I did.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
And I was like, this is not good because I was doing it with a different brush and it was just not.
Yeah.
Then I
Okay.
grabbed
This I like.
This one's much better.
Yeah.
But I also have like this weird slimy one. I might go back and do some of the oils as well to just try to like blend the two together.
No, I'm into it.
So I think that's probably what I do.
Mess around with it. See what you get.
So let's do.
Hopefully everyone's having a good day. If you are enjoying this content, please hit that like button on the video. Consider subscribing. Keep up to date on everything that we do here. We are planning on doing more hobby content, so of course, letting us know that you are enjoying it will send us the right signals. It's not going to be at the expense of battle reports or anything. It's just
Oh my god, these
something we're
things
excited about.
Oh, jeez.
It's child-proof.
Oh my, it's Brian proof.
Yeah, well, same thing.
Oh my.
Let's just get a
Jesus.
little front cam for that one. Oh, you got it.
That took way too long. I'm showing my incompetence to the world.
Yeah. Do you even know how to open these things?
No. Turns out I don't.
Right?
Let's try to bring this back a little bit.
I meant the cowboy hats you were talking about. The ones I got were amazing. Are amazing. What do you mean? These are fabulous.
Might have to just do this again. This is not looking great.
That's all good.
Well, this side at least. Or just show it in the back of the camera, and then no one will ever see it.
Yeah, we'll just never point the camera at it.
Yeah.
We can also add other stuff that will...
Yeah.
break
I just
it up.
went too far down on it, I think.
Yeah, no, that's all it is. It just was too far.
That's not the brush.
Okay, I need to exaggerate this just a little bit. Another green panel? Just this one.
How do we feel about putting some of like this green streaking grim, like on the
Yeah,
like
I like
moss
it.
and stuff?
Yeah, I think we could use some more like grit and grime in the shadows, for sure. Oh, the door. We forgot about the door. Thanks, AA Ron. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's fun. Stress-free.
It's really something nice about painting terrain and not having to worry about anything.
Yeah, right? There's no...
I haven't painted terrain in so long.
I think everyone should paint terrain every once in a while.
Yeah, just as a break from painting little miniatures. It's really nice.
Little war dollies.
Yeah.
Yeah, this weekend's going to be interesting because it's also going to be... It's a lot of like do a good job, but like go fast, right? Like we will literally, after our scenarios, we are going to roll on the chaos boons and like curses and like generate new stuff. We'll be like, okay, your guy mutated his left arm into a bird. Now you got to like model that,
Figure
chop
it
off
out,
the
yeah.
arm, repaint that part of it. It's going to be fantastic. Okay, so this next part is a bit tougher. I'm actually going to go over there. I think I have a dark brown from Vallejo. It's called Chocolatey Chip. No, it's called chocolate, and then in parentheses they put chipping. And actually, you like it for chipping, so I'm gonna go grab that. And
Chocolatey chip, huh?
it's chocolatey chip. And in just a few minutes, we are gonna do the community corner. If this is your first time watching the stream, welcome. We like to take a look and share what the community is working on. It's all taken from our Discord, which is totally free. Yeah, that's the plan. Oh, I don't have chocolatey chip here.
Good.
No. All right, I'll find a different brown.
Let me do
Okay.
like that building with Moonlight is a dunce hat.
I know.
So true.
It's so weird looking. I love it. All right. We might. Let's try this mahogany.
Great color.
It's a great color. What can I say? So generally, this second layer, I either like to go very dark or very bright. And if I'm going very bright, it's only because it's like the metal layer.
For the chipping you're talking about?
Yeah. And in this case, chipping to like silver or something, it wouldn't really show up as much because the rest of the model there's a lot of silver, so that contrast is like not interesting.
You could also do black as well.
Black's good, yeah.
Yep. What I like to do, I'll mix. So actually, the mahogany that he's using here, I'll use that I'll mix it with black, and I'll use that as like the base layers. Like when it chips down to its like primer, essentially. Like that's what I have underneath it, and then I'll put whatever else on top. That's like my go-to method because it's super easy. Like chipping is much easier than I think people make it out to be.
Right.
Because you can make it as in detail or as just quick as you want it to be, which is the best part about it.
And it looks great. It just adds a sense of realism.
Much,
yeah. Chipping is like one of my favorite things to do. If I could just chip forever, I'd be happy. That's why orcs are great. Rootin' tootin' Adrian too. What's up, Magnus? Hey, hey.
I keep wanting to put your brush in my mouth and I can't. I have to like stop myself. It's like right in front of my mouth and I'm just like, it's not mine, I can't do it.
Don't do it. It's too dangerous. Literally.
Yeah, Leva. I almost bought a hat. I was my Wi-Fi's family down in LA. We went down for a quinceañera.
Nice.
And we went to the store, like a boot store. And they obviously had hats and stuff there too. And I was like, oh, I should just buy a hat.
You should.
But they were crazy expensive. I was like, yeah, I'm never gonna wear this thing. It's just for the memes.
Right, yeah. Yeah, dude, a nice hat is very expensive.
They're so expensive.
Oh my gosh. It's all made by hand, you know, and they like, it's a whole business.
Definitely should have bought it though.
Yeah.
I'm regretting it immediately right now, especially.
It would have been so perfect. Imagine you just like whipped out your like actual hat.
I just wear it on stream every time.
Yeah, like this is my thing now, guys.
This becomes, I have a mustache, I got the hat, that's my whole identity.
Yeah, it's definitely a look.
It's a look, for sure.
It's a look. So once again, tonight's game, Thousand Suns versus Black Templars. Join us for that live. It's going to be a ton of fun. And then Saturday, it's going to be a absolute bloodbath melee matchup between Mel and her Space Wolves and Bridger and the World Eaters. That is going to be a wild stream. We're going to be working on this campaign in the meantime, but you will be all in good hands. It will be the fastest stream ever.
Or the longest stream
ever.
Or
the longest. No, but those two are just going to run straight at each other.
Yeah, but the combat phase is going to take like 3 hours.
Oh, yeah.
For the first one.
And
then after that, it'll be like 2 minutes because everything will be dead.
Yeah, that'll be the whole game.
Yeah. It'll be turn 2 combat, and then it'll be, oh, game's over.
Right. It's going to be like who can screen slightly better than the other person.
Yep.
That's what it all comes down to.
Who saves the 2 CP for an interrupt?
Yeah, exactly.
Really, that's what it comes down to.
Right? Ooh, that's tough. I don't think I trust either of them with that.
No, not at all. Although World Leaders don't have a ton of like amazing, like they have good strats, but they don't have like obviously the auto advance strat. That's probably, but that's 1 CP. Right?
They have a -1 damage, which is really important against Space Wolves. Actually, I think about
yeah, actually.
Ooh, that's a big deal. Uh-oh, someone tell Mel. The +1 damage from the Thunder Cav doesn't get around that, right?
No, so it's additives and subtraction happen at the same
it's just
time,
linearly.
So
yeah. Sorry, Mel. Yeah, that's actually going to be a big deal. So he needs to save that, though, which means he won't have the interrupts.
Right. Although if you're minusing damage, I feel like that's
better.
Better, yeah, exactly.
You'll just have more alive to
instead of losing a unit and then fighting with another one, you just won't lose that one unit,
Yeah.
and then maybe you don't lose the other one either.
Exactly. Very interesting. Mel is working on 6 more Thunder Cav, but not for tomorrow.
She didn't have enough.
You know, she didn't have the maximum yet, but soon. Boop. Bye, Willow.
Please
Fight Zinch demons with some Stormcast. Later, Skeeters. Bye. We'll miss you.
Thanks for hanging out.
Chippin'. How's it going over there?
I think it's going well. I just need to go back in once this dries with that little green to make the streaks better.
Yeah, makes sense.
Because they look kind of buns right now.
Buttons.
All right, now here's the real question. I have this thing. It's supposed to like simulate like a moss. It's like a really glossy kind of like mossy thing. So it's like this.
Yeah.
How are we feeling with that? Because I kind of want to put it on like this texture that you have on top here to make that look like it's mossing it down or whatever.
Yeah,
we could
like
also
that.
use like the dirty downs as well for the same exact thing.
No, I'm.
Because this,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I like both. I think they're cool.
Well, that's not helpful, Adrian. I gave you 2 options. You can't say yes.
Tell
when I
me,
give you,
tell me, like functionally, what's the difference going to be?
functionally, the difference
It's the same.
is basically the same.
Aha!
Well, one is like the look is different. Like this
Okay.
is very glossy,
Yeah.
and it looks like a wet kind of moss, whereas this isn't necessarily glossy.
Gotcha,
And
gotcha.
it won't look wet. Also, you can thin it down, so you can make it like stronger, weaker, whatever. Because it's water soluble. This is obviously not water soluble.
Yeah.
You could thin it down, I guess, with like mineral spirits or something, but
Right, not just like regular water.
yeah.
Um.
Because my idea was like this stuff, because I don't really know how to paint it,
Yeah.
except to make it some type of vegetation.
No, I think that's great.
And then I was gonna do like the tops of here, like
Yeah,
where
that'd
the
be
building
awesome.
meets, because I already kind of put the green there anyways.
Let's do that, and then let's make it the glossy kind of wet one.
Okay.
There's also some here that I put kind of coming dripping off of the chimney, which you could do as well. I'd be super into that. Well, what would Liam say about these hats? He wouldn't understand. They ain't got cowboys where they come from. Wouldn't you just focus the fight on death, blood, Yahtzee? Hey, that sounds like
I
a
mean,
good
that's
option
the
too.
more fun answer.
Which means that's probably what they'll do.
Yeah.
Okay, I need to do some silver and gold. Silver and gold. All right. And then, yeah, just a few minutes, folks. We might run it a little bit over. That's all right.
I feel like we've accomplished a lot. More in this stream than I feel like I have in a very long time.
Yeah. Because it's liberating. It's like, there's no grand plan. There is a deadline. You just got to do it and get it done,
Yeah.
What can I say? No time to be precious. This whole thing's going to be silver. Oh no, it's like speckling. Shoot. Messed up.
What'd you
Messed
do?
up, AA Ron. I was just kind of like doing this, and then it was like flicking silver onto the dirt.
Oh, you monster.
I am a monster. No time to worry, though.
Yeah. I haven't used a brush this size for this amount of time in a very long time.
Right. Those big old terrain brushes, fantastic. All those brushes from hobby stores that we can never use.
Yeah, the really bad ones that are like
Yeah.
super cheap.
Perfect for this.
Yeah.
Because you will also destroy them. You will destroy them.
This is very quiet. Because we're concentrating.
Yeah.
Something in it.
In it. Yeah, they're always saying that. They're always saying stuff like that.
So when I took Andy's class at LVO 2 years ago,
So curious what you're gonna say.
he was like, because you know how out here we say like bro or whatever, right? But they say bruv. with a
Bruv.
V.
Oh, yeah,
He's like,
bruv.
yeah, bruv.
Yeah, bro.
And the first time he said it, I was so thrown off. I was like, what did you say? I was like, excuse me? And he's like, yeah, bruv. And I was like, why do you have the V? And he's like, I don't know.
Brother. You're my brother.
Yeah. I was like, can you spell brother?
Yeah.
There's no V, Andy.
That's really funny. I love all that kind of stuff. It's like these slight cultural differences. It's like
Yeah.
two English-speaking languages derived from like the same.
So different.
Yeah. That's awesome. All right, cool. Goldings look great. Thanks, Lindsay. I think so.
She has to say that.
She does have
It's
to
in
say
her
it.
contract.
It's true. It's required. It's the law. I still have some of this, what is it, mahogany here, so let me just fix some of my regrets.
Look, I'm pretty into this, actually.
I think it looks fantastic.
I'm going to put some of this like
Ooh,
glossy stuff at
yes.
the bottom.
Yes. Moss.
Moss indeed.
I'm super into it.
Like as Bridger would say, you got to live moss.
Live moss.
No, I don't actually think I explained what I'm doing here. I'm just like stippling everything on basically. I don't want to have any like hard lines. So what I'm doing, if you guys can see I'm like getting the paint on the brush. I'm just like dabbing off all the excess, and then I'm just going on and stippling to create like various textures and stuff. Because I don't want to have like brush strokes visible with this stuff on it, because I don't have anything to thin it down to like remove it. So like if you look at the panel,
So if you tilt tilt it towards me,
towards you. Oh, okay.
to like this camera over here.
Yeesh.
There you go.
So that panel that you guys can see, that's, where is it, this one here?
Mm-hmm.
So that was the first, maybe is that? Yeah, that's the first one I did.
Yeah.
So it actually looks pretty bad because I didn't streak it out super well, which is where you would want to have something like mineral spirits or some type of solvent, so that way you can remove it, but I didn't bring any of that. I'm going to have to wait for it to dry and then basically repaint it and then do the streaks again.
Right.
But a better side would be like, I don't know how well this comes up on the camera, but this one here, you can see the actual streaks coming down.
Yeah, we can see that.
So that's kind of what I'm going for here, and then I might still go back. I'm still going to go back and then chip it like how Adrian was doing. I'm just trying to do all the oils and enamels and stuff right now because they take a little bit to dry.
Yeah.
Plus, it shows you guys something different. Adrian was doing all the chipping and stuff, so I figured I'll do something different for you guys to see.
Bury it up. Yeah, show us the back wall.
And then that's
so good. Oh my god.
There it is.
Yes.
And it's basically just following the same pattern. I'm just doing a lot of texture, a lot of stippling with the oils and stuff. And then on the inside, it's all the same as well, like the inside of here too. But yeah, oils can work amazingly for this type of stuff.
Oh, so good.
But yeah, for terrain. I love it for terrain.
What did you use on that silver? Which one is that?
The
The like brown stuff.
Oh, it's I use grease as like the first. So I like to mix the oils when I put them down. So grease I used first, so the scale 75 grease. And then while it's still wet, obviously, I used the dark rust, and I just kind of like mixed the two together. And then when they dry, it'll be like really nice, harmonious kind of. It's not going to have any like stark color transitions because it's not going to go from the brown to the orange. It's just going to go nice little smooth transitions because I can't help myself.
No, that's great.
And then if you wanted to add the yellow rust, which I of course didn't bring, you would just do like little dots of it in there while it's still wet. So when it all dries, it's very harmonious together.
Oh, yes. Now, people are, I think, you were saying how it might not show up immediately, but it is absolutely worth it, folks. Like, if you invest the time in, like, adding those various different rust effects, it looks really, really good.
It might actually just be easier to take a photo and put it in, like, the Discord or something.
Sure, yeah, we can do that. We'll post up.
Yeah.
I just realized someone's name. I'm the real Brian Leva, a.k.a. Lil B, and says, I support the hats during all streams going forward.
Yeah, look.
Agreed.
I'll have to go get me a authentic,
I know,
not
right?
a Party City one.
Hey, this is from Amazon.
Oh, okay.
Thank you very much.
Sorry.
Thank you very much. All right.
We'll go
And
back
with
to
that,
the bottom.
it's time for the community corner. All right, let's see what we got here, folks. So again, this is all taken from Discord, which is totally free to join. We have a link in the description below. It's not a critique, but it's a chance to kind of celebrate what the community is working on. And I pull these from the Hobby Progress channel, and it's about looking at cool things that people are doing. Let's take a look. Community picks. This one is. I need to make this bigger. Actually, today, Lindsay populated this.
Lindsay did all these,
So I have
yeah.
no idea what we're about to look at.
Neither one of us have seen these.
I might need to go control it over there.
Oh, there it is.
That looks great. Yeah, but now I can't control it.
Oh, okay.
Please hold. Any second now. Why is OBS like this? I can't grab. Oh.
Oh,
Yeah, there we go. Now we're cooking.
Now we're cooking.
This is awesome. I love this.
What model is that?
It's like I don't know. It's some
Where's my
guardsman.
head from, though? It almost looks like commissar legs, or
Yeah.
what's the name character that came out that looks very much like the Game of Thrones lady?
Ursula Creed?
Ursula, yeah, it
Yeah.
almost looks like her legs.
Yeah, it is some sort of regular guards person's leg,
Mm-hmm.
maybe the command squad. And then they've got the arm is the command squad fist. And the right, I think, is the saber, maybe even from the Admech. I don't know the head. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Oh, that's so cool. Amazing. I love it. I love it. We love guard conversions. Next up, we've got...
Speaking of wolves.
Space Wolf. Look at these
Oh,
shields.
shields, they're so cool.
Oh, this is from Vegetation, which is, of course, one of the famous Gaulois chiefs that fought the Romans, obviously. So cool. This is, oh my God, it's beautiful. Where are these from? Speaking of, like, prints, I think.
Yeah, they gotta be printed.
The shields
Yeah,
are
they
so
have to be
good.
printed. They look really cool.
They're like a proper size, too.
Yeah.
Big and beefy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
And it's funny because they all have swords too. Like often you don't see space wolves with swords; they have like axes or whatever.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
really
yeah.
cool. Like it's a different take on it. It's really cool.
Ah, that's awesome. And there's a really cool Judiciary on the right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. That's so sick. I love it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Next up, this is French Goat
Ooh.
painting up this
horse.
beautiful model.
I love that model.
Pony time. Oh, it's gorgeous. I really, really like what they're doing with the shadows
Mm-hmm.
on the horse, especially like kind of in the belly area, underneath the saddle and everything, the saddle bags. It's beautiful.
That's such a good model too. That model. I mean, there's so much going on in that model.
Yeah. This is what Ninja
crazy.
won with.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. So thank you. Shout out to French Goat. Next up, we've got Rourke posting up some more of his orcs. And then these are the new Black Orc kit. Sorry, Ardboys kit, which looks awesome. So I'm really happy to see this continue to grow in this awesome paint scheme.
There's something like. How new is this kit? Because it's older, right?
No, it's so you painted up that boar.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same release time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they redid the Ardboys.
I wonder why. I like the old art boys. Like obviously these. I'm not saying these look bad. That's not what I mean.
Oh,
These look amazing.
No, it's definitely a different look.
Yeah.
Honestly. So like,
So what are they old art boys then? What are they using them as? They're just gone now forever?
they're gone, but you can use them for fantasy,
Oh, okay.
which is
fair
what I'm
enough.
gonna do.
Yeah, fair enough.
You know, like those are Black Orcs and these are Ardboys,
Right.
right?
Fair enough.
Or as many people are using them for knobs. Great for knobs.
I like how this dude doesn't have shoes on.
Yeah.
You gotta put
Heavy
them
plate
things
armor,
away.
no shoes.
You gotta put them things away, man.
Next up, we've got
Blood
Numish.
Bowl.
Oh yes, this is the Black Orc team. They're Goblin Bruisers. So sick. These models are a lot of fun.
I don't know why. I love goblins. I
Yeah.
love like silly little goblins that have a lot of personality.
Yep.
They're awesome.
This kit's so cool too. I always also like it when they paint the pitch lines.
What is that dude holding? Is it like the little pink thing?
This one?
Is it like a bug or something?
Yeah, it's like a little cave creature, I think.
That's hilarious.
It's so good. Oh my God. Amazing. Thanks, Numish. Appreciate it. Next up, Kenotu. What? Oh my God. This Astrolith bear looks amazing.
How absurd is it to walk into battle carrying a golden stone
Right?
banner thing? Like,
How heavy do you think
how
that is?
strong do you have to be to one-hand it?
Right? Like each of these like bricks, these tiles, are like 20 pounds.
At least.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, it's absurd.
That's just they're just flexing on everyone else.
Yeah, they
You know?
don't even need a weapon. They just use that thing.
Yeah, exactly. Although I think the Sisters of Battle would probably give them a run for their money.
Oh,
like
that's true.
body weight
That's
to
true.
standard weight.
It's true.
It's pretty good.
Well, they have the power armor though. It kind of helps, right?
Oh yeah.
So it's not really a fair contest.
They also have faith in the Emperor.
Yep.
Don't forget that. Thanks, Kino too. Mini Maher, as always, amazing paint. I really like the scheme that they have.
I love leathers.
Right?
Painting leathers is so fun. It's so nice.
This is something that really rewards like spending a lot of that time, right?
And it really like allows you to play with texture too. And it pays off really well.
It's cool. We're so used to seeing gold custodies. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but
There's
Yeah. I really like this. So shout out. Appreciate it. And the last one for today, it's our boy Magnus, painted by Muscle Hank. Really nice. Like
a galaxy, starry kind of.
Right?
Yeah, that's super cool.
So sick. This is actually really cool. I'm actually about to start painting a Magnus myself, so this is cool inspiration. The galaxy effect is always awesome. I love it. Mel just came in the room. She wants to see Galaxy Magnus. Pretty sweet, right?
So realistic.
Yeah, I'm super into it.
It looks really cool.
Yeah. And that is it for the community corner. Again, as always, thank you everyone for sending your stuff in on the Discord. This is taken from Hobby Progress. We have a link down below. And it's just a cool community. You can hang out, show what you're working on. There is a critique section, which is separate if you want to get some feedback. But this is also just what people are working on, which is always cool to see. And with that, we're going to start wrapping up. We, of course, made some good progress on our buildings today.
We made a lot of progress on our buildings.
I'm proud
More
of
than
us.
I thought we were going to make.
We're going to be okay.
We're killing it.
We're going to be okay.
Look, we got 2 buildings. We only need like 17 more.
Yeah.
It only took us 2 hours. It's still not done. Seems fine.
I think we're going to have lots of like smaller structures and things to like create some density. And like this was intentionally like difficult to navigate. Like you're going up and down, and I think we're going to be like smaller scale, you know? It's gonna be fine.
Obviously, like we're prepared for this.
We're ready for this. This is great. Of course, we talked about doing weathering today, so we looked at chipping. We looked at doing rust effects, grime effects, algae, general kind of metal weathering, and how to use oils and things like that. So hopefully you enjoyed that. We, of course, have more stuff coming up on the channel. Tonight, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard, it's going to be the Thousand Suns versus the Black Templars. Join us for that. And Saturday, we're going to be back at it with the World Eaters facing off against the Space Wolves in a match you are not going to want to miss. It's going to be a ton of fun. And of course, consider becoming a member because we are going to be doing votes on Tuesday to determine what we play and how we play, as well as, don't forget, this stream normally locked behind memberships. So good time to join, get access to the extra battle report each and every week, get access to the hobby stream each and every week, and of course, all the behind-the-scenes content, which normally I do every week. We've been traveling a lot, so
Yeah, this week has been a crazy week.
It's been
or not
this
this
whole
week.
month,
I mean,
honestly.
this month has been a crazy month.
I haven't even recovered like from Gamma, and then you were at
Yeah.
Adepticon. So we're gonna be back to that starting next week, weekly updates. So definitely join us if you want a slice of that. Well, I think we did it.
Yeah, I think so.
Thanks so much for hanging out. We'll catch you next time on the tabletop. Bye.